2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Team wins, let alone the losses, then you kind of like go wherever you got to go into your dark place.
Wait. What do you mean you go into your dark place? What does that mean?
Where do you go?
I don't go into my dark place. That sounds like you have a cave in your basement where you just sit and sulk.
She's Batman?
Yeah, without the crime fighting.
It actually sounds closer to Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs.
A little closer, yeah.
This dark place.
You don't go into a dark place when the Eagles lose?
I don't think like
just
you
like
do.
Endlessly scrolling, just like hoping that somehow the outcome changes through.
So different because the last time the Eagles had that magnitude of game, they won. So I can't really relate to what it's like to have Super Bowl expectations and blow lead. So no, my dark place is not quite as dark because there's been light down there.
Amazing.
Unlike your dark place.
Here are Maggie and Perloff.
How do these things just become so true? It is Maggie and Perloff. What up? Welcome to the show. So glad to have you. We're streaming, we are across the country on all of our CBS Sports Radio affiliates. We're also streaming live right now, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio. Come on in, get comfortable, and come hang with us in the chat. Okay, so we were going to start with Perloff and I do not agree on how Mike McCarthy is going to improve the Dallas Cowboys offense, but we have to put that on hold just for a moment. We promised we would get to it right away. But the newest thing that happened was Aaron Rodgers did his appearance on the Pat McAfee show like 20 minutes ago. So he responded to our interview with Romeo Doubs. So first, let's play the question that ended up going viral, over 1 million views on Twitter when we were talking to Romeo. Can you give us an outside of the facility hanging out with Aaron Rodgers story?
I didn't get a chance to hang out with him, but...
Not one time he didn't take you guys out?
One time. I mean, as far as being around 12, I'd say possibly it's always been football. So, I mean, in the building, on the practice field, there was never a time where, got to really...
Okay, did mention the Halloween party that he got to hang out with him at, but that was like a team event. But, I kind of said that really not one time. I mean, we weren't trying to bait him into anything. It was maybe just a little surprise because we think these teams are so insular. And, I expressed that I hosted a show at one point with Bart Scott, who had told me that he used to invite teammates over to watch Monday Night Football, stuff like that. Okay, so that ends up going viral. We never thought, Perloff, that Romeo Doubs meant any harm by that.
No, absolutely not. No. You don't hear a lot of negativity in his voice saying, oh, man, I can't believe Aaron Rodgers wasn't hanging out with me. No, I think he was answering very honestly, and the whole interview was very honest. He was not putting on any effects.
No, not at all, and he was pleasant. He was very pleasant. He just finished a really nice rookie year. So Rodgers was asked about it on McAfee today, and first he addressed, so let's play clip 1, why they don't really hang out.
Listen, I'm 100% attendance on every team party. I don't know that every person can say that on the squad, so that's a chance to hang out with me in those venues. I'm damn near 100% every single line dinner. So I feel like I spend a lot of time with my teammates, and I love that time. Now, there's obviously ones you're closer with than others, But what those guys have in common, especially Mace and Dave and Randall, is they're in their 30s. The things that I'm thinking about and doing and spending my time doing are a little probably different than a 21 and 22-year-old.
Yeah. I mean, listen, Romeo Doubs was born in the year 2000, which, I know, I'm sorry. Man. That was like taking a bullet. I know. That's hard to hear.
So here's the thing. Well, I totally agree with that. But the funny thing is, I don't think any other 30-year-olds on the Packers are doing the things that Aaron Rodgers is doing.
That's a fair point.
I don't think there are a lot of guys who are having vacations with Miles Teller and his Hollywood girlfriend, and he's in a different stratosphere than anyone.
Yeah.
But it is a valid excuse because we all relate to that. I don't hang out with younger people at work. For example, Stu and I do not grow out after the show. I'd like to, but Stu keeps on shooting me down.
I know. It's different when you're, a little bit older. You can't be going to 10-cent beer night, and I think not that Romeo Doubs is.
The line is when you have kids too, not that Aaron Rodgers has kids.
Yeah.
So but it's totally
having kids kills your social life. Just FYI. Murders it.
Thanks for telling me 6 months ago.
I know, Sanford, we tried to warn you.
Was your social life so spectacular before the kids came, Maggie?
No, but it existed.
Okay.
It doesn't exist anymore.
When's the last time, Maggie Gray, young mother, you have been in a movie theater?
Oh, wait a minute. No, not since before. My son was born in 2019.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry. I saw you in Hustle.
Oh, right. That was a Netflix movie.
but you and I got to go to the premiere.
To a movie for 5 minutes? And the bad guys, right?
No. This is always one that is a little weird. So for Father's Day, in the middle of the pandemic, in the little town I live in New Jersey, in the suburbs, you could rent out the movie theater.
Oh, okay.
And it's actually not that expensive, and you can play whatever movie you want. So I did that for my husband. So my kid stayed there for 5 minutes before he went home with his grandmother.
What'd you play? The Godfather? What did you?
No, we did Into the Heights or something. It had just come out.
Oh, Lin-Manuel Miranda. I like it. I'm sure Samter's a big fan.
But what's funny?
We're getting sidetracked here.
No, the point
West Side Story was on TV today, so I was kind of watching parts of it.
Different stages, they're different players are at different stages. And I heard Aaron Rodgers. We speak Aaron Rodgers pretty well. There was no defensiveness in his voice either. I think the question, which mentioned our show, was actually a little bit more angry than Aaron Rodgers was. I didn't sense any. He's like, yeah, we don't hang out. It really wasn't a sore point for Rodgers. I don't even think he cared about the criticism.
So he didn't feel like he needed to defend himself at all. However, he did want to make one thing clear about what kind of leader he is.
I love Romes. I enjoy playing with Romes. I enjoyed our conversation in the room. I enjoyed seeing his personality come out. But there's two types of leaders. There's leaders that want to be liked first and foremost, and respected second. And there's leaders that want to be respected first and foremost and liked second. And I think one type of leadership makes you make decisions that are based solely in never wanting to be the bad guy. And I've just never really resonated with that type of leadership. I want the guys to respect my work, to respect how I hold myself accountable and hold them accountable. And to me, that's how you model leadership that actually sticks and lasts in this league. That to be said, I love my teammates and love spending time with them. And I don't give a about any of the other comments outside of that.
Yeah, so I think this is a little defensive, I would say, towards the backlash that Rodgers got from the Doubs interview, right? So I think that, a lot of people did pile on kind of those narratives about Aaron Rodgers that, he can be aloof or selfish or whatever. And he's trying to say I'm someone who wants to be respected more than I want to be liked. I'm not going to be your buddy. I'm going to be, maybe a hard ass sometimes or whatever I have to be to get the best out of everyone. And maybe he feels like that gets misinterpreted.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. I'm thinking of actually Russell Wilson, who it seems like the way former teammates respond to him is much more negatively. Oh, yeah. I don't hear a lot of that with Aaron Rodgers. Maybe I'm missing it. I don't remember some.
I mean, he's got some people who kind of like Greg Jennings, for example.
Oh, Jennings
I don't know if he did with this particular interview, but Jennings has been someone who's been critical of him in the past.
Okay, it's a good point. It's not like Russell Wilson though, where
where Richard Sherman's on Amazon every Thursday night, basically still saying run the ball.
And some of his receivers, like Doug Baldwin, were critical of Russell Wilson. Yeah, so I think Rodgers is not for everybody.
Yeah.
But this one, I don't think this was a gotcha moment. And by the way, I don't think you and I ever presented it as a gotcha moment. We just put the video out. We thought it was interesting. And it revealed a real truth about the team. Rodgers is a different stage than these rookie wide receivers. I think that's an important storyline when you look at the Packers.
No doubt. And I think moving this forward, where Rodgers now has this big decision and the Packers have this big decision, is like, what kind of team do you want to go to, right?
Great question.
He talks about the friends that he has and Bakhtiari, and we know about Randall Cobb and Mason Crosby and these guys who are in their late 30s. You look at the Jets, who I know everybody wants to pencil Aaron Rodgers just going to the Jets now. That is an extremely young team.
Yeah, I mean, actually, the funny thing is their wide receiver core is actually a lot older than the Packers' wide receiver core.
Not by much.
So Garrett Wilson will be coming into his second year, and Elijah Moore will be coming into his third year. At least they're not rookies like everybody on. The fact that okay, I get what's going on here. The Packers being contenders and going with 3 rookies in their wide receiver rotation, who weren't even, none of which were first rounders, that's a little bit on the organization. I think actually you could say Rodgers handled that better than he could have. Remember the first game, Christian Watson broke deep and dropped a pass?
Yeah, but that honestly, that stayed with him too long. I know he ended up getting hurt. He missed some games, but we kept going back to that. I felt like that was unfair. He was a rookie, he dropped a ball. It's like your worst nightmare probably. And it was like, the play kept getting shown, and Rodgers said, about how momentum builds and then it gets taken away. I always thought he got too much criticism on that one drop.
But you understand why? Because everybody picked the Packers to go to the Super Bowl, and then they trot out a 4th-round pick and Romeo Doubs as their starting wide receiver. That just doesn't happen on contenders.
That's true.
So I think people were waiting.
Although Isaiah Pacheco right now is a really big part of what the Chiefs are doing.
Running backs,
Kelsey.
Running backs can be any age. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Just you take the ball and you run forward.
He's a running back that doesn't run in between the numbers.
Yeah. But running back has no age requirement. They're usually better as rookies. I mean, can you imagine? Has there ever been, let's ask our crack research department, has there ever been more than one starting rookie receiver on a deep playoff team? Has there, I don't even know, do typically rookie wide receivers even start on Super Bowl teams?
No, but again,
maybe.
I'll go to the Chiefs. It's not on the wide receiver side, but they have rookie corners who are starting, a rookie safety.
Different.
Okay.
And that might be an issue by it, but it's different. I think a lot of defensive positions, your athleticism can help you get over that hump. Wide receiver, you have to know what you're doing. You need to know the route trees. You need to have familiarity with Rodgers.
Obviously.
So, yeah, I mean, look at last year, Cooper Kupp and Odell Beckham. I know Beckham got hurt. That's a lot of experience. Sure. Tampa Bay, Tom Brady went to Tampa Bay. He's like, ooh, give me Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. Evans had a lot of experience. Yeah. So I think it's tough. But I think Rodgers overall, because Watson turned around and had a great season, I think this situation, he handled it okay, at least on the surface. And I know people were coming after him for Doubs, but I think this could have got a lot worse. Is that fair to say?
The reaction to the
No. The rookie wide season. The season and having a bunch of rookie wide receivers that he clearly didn't bond with.
I think that it was pretty much a surprise to everyone that they kind of no-showed in Week 18. The way that things were trending, they won 4 in a row. I mean, we were saying, are they now going to be like this dangerous 7 seed? And then it ended up not happening because Detroit beat them, and then Seattle gets in. And Seattle just earned the right to get trounced by the 49ers, which probably would have happened even if the Packers were in. But they were trending in the right direction, just like you would expect a rookie to trend. As a rookie, you're much different at the end of the season than you are in the beginning. Of course you are.
On the Jets, same situation. I think you're right. I think they're too young
I mean, they're super young.
Their Super Bowl window, if it is you need to go to a place for the Super Bowl window if you're Aaron Rodgers. And I think they're just a year or two away. I know that's a cliche that people say, but do you really look at that team and say they are the Bucs when Tom Brady went there? It just doesn't seem...
No. I think the best case scenario for them, and they obviously do not right now have the franchise quarterback to do it, but their best case scenario is to have like a Jaguars kind of thing where they go to the playoffs. Like for the Jets, let's walk before we can run here. Make the playoffs for the first time in 12 years. You know,
kind of like the Eagles made it at 9-8 last year and got blown out by Tom Brady in the first round. That kind of led the way to this season.
Yeah, it's like, let's make the playoffs first if I'm the Jets. But, if Aaron Rodgers goes there, then the expectations are going to go through the roof. So Rodgers was asked about the Jets as well because Nathaniel Hackett, his former offensive coordinator, was just hired as their offensive coordinator. Here's what he had to say.
There's not a great answer I can give you. We all have certain coaches that have meant a lot to us over the years and have created those really special rooms to play in. Obviously, Nathaniel's one of those guys. Love Hack. Hack's my guy. I love him, and we really bonded when he was in Green Bay. He made it fun. I'm not sure what the future holds for me, but those are friendships, the ones I mentioned, that are going to last longer than football.
Listen, singing his praises. Loved his approach, made it fun, which I can imagine when you're in year, 19 or whatever Rodgers is going into, you probably appreciate that more because I bet the season feels like a grind.
So I'm curious, our resident Jets fan, Mike Samter.
Yeah.
Did you read into that? The nice things about Hackett is did your mind go straight to Aaron Rodgers in a green jersey ready to go?
My mind went to Aaron Rodgers in a green jersey the day the season ended. So
I
I'm
gotta
the
be
wrong
honest,
person
though,
to ask.
the Jets will find a way to make even the most fun thing not fun. That's where fun goes to die with the Jets. I mean, I know Rex was kind of fun, but that was a while ago.
Well, let's go get a snack.
Yeah, right. That was fun.
Wait, you didn't curse. You did curse, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, if it's not a real Rex Ryan quote, if you don't drop a curse.
So I think both you and I are saying the same thing, that the Jets, it's related to the Doubs issue. This is a bunch of young players, and why there for Aaron Rodgers?
Listen, there is one place, we're going to talk about it in a minute. There's one place where if I am Aaron Rodgers or if I'm Tom Brady that I want to go.
Ooh, we got a break.
One and one only.
Oh, tease that, baby. I have no idea where you're going.
Oh, man. This is going to be a fun show. So we start off with Aaron Rodgers. We will get to Mike McCarthy. Perloff and I just do not see this thing eye to eye. It was funny because we started chit-chatting about it, and I was like, you really think that? He's like, yes. He's like, you really think that? I'm like, yeah. We just don't agree. So we'll get to that and how Mike McCarthy and will he make the Cowboys offense even better?
That was a good dramatic reenactment of our pre-show meeting. You really think that? Yeah. You really think that? Yeah. It implies that most meetings are like, you really think that? No, but what the heck?
No, I thought yours was so crazy that I'm like, you really think that? We're not. This can't be a bit. If you known us long enough, this is nothing about this is a bit.
Don't get away from the tease that you have the perfect team for both Brady and Rodgers. I'm dying to know this.
Oh, yeah. Easy. And this one, not even a question. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Chat is up and running. Good afternoon, Weedos. Good to see everybody is in tip-top shape today. They think that we're drinking something unsavory out of these cups. You guys, your minds go straight into the gutter.
Maggie, you're really selling it because you even have the tea bag string hanging off the side. I mean, you're really selling whatever's in the cup.
I'm not that good of an actress.
Maggie Gray, 100% attendance at work parties.
Yep. I don't miss a beat. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. It'd be weird if I was only hanging out with the interns. All right, we'll get to the one place for Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady right after this. We are across the country on CBS Sports Radio. We're also live on the Odyssey app. We're on Sirius XM. And again, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio. Come on, hang out.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
I am so excited. We're back on Maggie and Perloff. So excited to find out. Did you guys know there was one team that's perfect for Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers, and Maggie knows it, and I have no idea what she's going to say. Usually we go over a lot of topics, and I have not been able to glean what this one team is.
Listen, they should both be racing to this team.
Should we get a drum roll ready or something? I mean, I feel like we have to present this.
Let me just do third runner-up and second runner-up.
Oh, I didn't know you had but there's only one team.
Yeah.
But okay, let's hear third runner-up and second runner-up.
Third runner-up was going to be Miami.
Yeah.
I think Miami was going to be a fun one.
I thought that was going to be your one.
No. Miami was going to be my third runner-up because They have weapons, obviously. Defense still a work in progress in Miami. They maybe hired Vic Fangio, then maybe they didn't hire Vic Fangio as their defensive coordinator. Still not sure about that. But obviously, like the future's bright, and Tua's future, unfortunately, I think is a little in doubt. But we got the report from Schefter over the weekend that they're going to be all in on Tua. So that's Miami was third runner-up. Second runner-up to me.
Wait. You're not dinging them because of that silly Schefter report.
I am dinging them because of the Schefter report.
That does not mean it's done. But please, go ahead. We'll
unpack that a little later. My second runner-up is going to be Stu's Las Vegas Raiders. Raiders are good. It's a good idea because you have Devontae Adams. You got great weapons. But let's be honest, defense needs a lot of work. Offensive line needs a lot of work. And are we really sold on Josh McDaniels as a coach? I mean, we talked to the Hall of Famer Tim Brown. He did not seem to be that sold on Josh McDaniels. So it's good, but it's not great. So number one team, they both should be. Oh, thank you. The team they should both be running for is San Francisco 49ers. This is a no-brainer. This is the best team out there for anyone. Look at what happened. There was a chance, Perloff, before Josh Johnson fumbled the ball and then had to leave the game with a concussion, that perhaps they were going to keep this game close with a fourth-string quarterback in the link facing your Philadelphia Eagles as the number one seed. Your Eagles were amazing this year, and San Francisco's defense was almost good enough to just single-handedly keep them in this game. The weapons are there. The offensive line is there. The coaching is there. Rodgers and Brady have to duke it out to get to San Francisco. And listen, Brady has the inside track because you don't have to trade anything for him, and his salary is not going to be near what Rodgers is if history is a guide. So Rodgers might be a little tougher, but San Francisco's the place.
Okay. I would have felt really bad watching Tom Brady on Sunday because there was one play, Brock Purdy, when he was still in the game, dropped back. Hassan Reddick, but the second he turned around, threw him into the ground. I mean, they would have murdered that statue, Tom Brady.
Listen, Brock Purdy needs like Tommy John now.
That would have been bad to have Tom Brady. Now, Rodgers, though, because of the costs, there's a lot. That's pretty complicated for the Niners to get Rodgers without sort of gutting the future of the team. Here's my real question. They won 12 in a row with Brock Purdy and Jimmy G. Why do they need one of these guys? They can win with anybody.
No,
They're built to win no matter who your quarterback is. Why are they going to put down to get one of these all-time guys?
You have no idea what Trey Lance is. You have it's a good sample, but it's a small sample on Brock Purdy. How about a team that's ready to win where Kyle Shanahan has been the bridesmaid and not the bride going to these Super Bowls and NFC championship games year after year? The team's good, but just not good enough. Obviously, when he was the offensive coordinator for the Falcons, that's an all-time blown lead that he has to live with until he wins a Super Bowl for himself. And they went and blew a 10-point lead with Jimmy G as their quarterback in the Super Bowl to Mahomes. They keep going back to the NFC Championship game, and they just can't get it. Maybe they need a little bit of a better quarterback, and that could be what finally gets them over the hump.
Well, this year they needed to stay home, too, because if that game was in San Francisco, a totally different game. It would have been hard to win in Philadelphia on Sunday. Now, Jimmy G is really good in that offense. It's a Kyle Shanahan offense. It's a Kubiak-Shanahan offense. Tom Brady is going to have to learn kind of a new system there. And Kyle Shanahan is this brilliant play caller, maybe the best play caller in the NFL, maybe second behind Andy Reid. Why do you need this is a big deal to bring in Brady. So Brady's going to have to learn a new system, and you're going to kind of neutralize Kyle Shanahan's brilliance, and you're taking away the running element of your quarterback, which I hate to say it is now a bigger deal than ever.
Yes.
So Brady, I don't know that I'm so psyched about the Niners with Brady.
Okay.
I feel like this is not exactly the team for him.
The RPO thing, that's the one answer I don't have. Brady can't really do
that's
that.
what I'm thinking about.
I get it. He can't do that. And like the bootlegs and what do they call them? The nakeds. Like he's not going to be able, it's going to be a little different. But Brady as a point guard at this stage of his career, he can do that. And if I'm going to bet on anybody who could learn an offense, dedicate his life to learning this offense and be 100% all in, not Rodgers, who's in Tahoe right now, getting ready for a golf match. I don't really care about that actually, but just using it for my argument. I'm saying Brady is 100% in. He will learn because
he doesn't go to camp. He doesn't go to minicamp either.
No, he won't go to minicamp anymore.
So that's not 100%.
Well, he'll learn the offense though.
He will
so
learn
would
the
Rodgers.
offense.
I mean, these guys are both, when they're in, they're in.
So Rodgers comes from a West Coast background. Yeah, I'm sure Rodgers could learn it.
They're both smart.
If I'm San Francisco, I'd rather have Rodgers. I mean,
yeah, but that's $60 million.
It's a hard.
Brady's been taking
hard
$20
pill to
million.
swallow. Now, let me ask you about this team around him. Obviously, Christian McCaffrey fits Tom Brady. Short running back who can go out, or slot receiver go out.
McCaffrey fits everybody.
But Tom Brady, when he got to Tampa Bay, is like, oh man, I'm throwing to Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. Now, I love Debo and I love Ayuk, but though it is not Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. Debo's best play is an end around. Are they really the deep threats that's going to make this vertical passing game that you kind of need with Tom Brady? I kind of doubt it.
I mean, I don't know. I don't remember Brady tossing all these 40-yard bombs all over the field this year. Evans, they didn't connect for a touchdown for like 10 weeks out of the season.
What happened? How did they pick up their season? They started throwing long to Evans.
I mean,
but think about the first year when it actually worked there.
Well, and he had Antonio Brown.
And he had Antonio, right. But exactly. And I just don't think that the Niners are built like that. The Niners are built to grind it out and win with defense.
I don't know. At this stage in his career, maybe that's what Brady does need. You know?
Kind of like a late career Peyton Manning.
There you go. 855-212-4CBS. Better than that, probably. Just minus the neck procedures.
And I'll tell you exactly how this movie ends, too. Brady, week 2, gets hit. Brock Purdy comes in. Leads in the Super Bowl and goes on to win 6 more Super Bowls.
Then he's the new Brady.
I mean, I'd say people say Joe Burrow is the next Brady. Joe Burrow came to the NFL off of a national championship. Brock Purdy is literally the new Brady. 7th round pick.
Yeah, but Mo Lewis already retired, so it's just not going to happen.
Bring him out.
Yeah, it was very specific. Week 2, lung injury. It doesn't have to be like that.
855-212-4CBS. Our buddy Big Dave is weighing in on Rodgers' future. Dave, what's happening?
Hey, what's up, guys? Listen, first of all, Maggie, you are spot on with your analysis of San Fran's the perfect place for Brady to go now with the Purdy injury, and I think if I'm going to bet anything, I think Aaron Rodgers is going to wind up with the Jets. McLovin, I can't believe your argument for this. It's lame. I mean, all that they need, they've got weapons all around him. I mean, the situation's perfect for Brady, in my opinion, to have to eliminate the RPO out of an offensive scheme. I mean, that's
small sacrifice, I think.
Yeah, in the grand scheme of things. Listen, I want to dial back this for just a second, if you guys don't mind, and ask you something about that kind of hit me about the AFC championship game.
Yeah, go ahead.
The call where the clock didn't stop after the incomplete pass, and of course the Chiefs get the extra down,
right?
Per se, right?
Yes.
What happens if the receiver catches the ball?
If Jerick McKinnon had caught the ball on the sideline?
Yeah. No, I mean the incomplete pass. Yeah,
to Jerick McKinnon.
Right.
They don't get the play.
Okay, so what's the argument by the Bengals fans? Are they saying that, okay, if he would have completed the pass, that they wouldn't have stopped the play?
It's a good point, Dave. They're playing the result. So what if it was somehow a touchdown and they redone the play? Would Bengals fans be complaining? No.
Exactly. My whole point. I mean, I guess the assumption is my Bengals fans they're saying that they got a free play. My argument is they didn't get a free play because even if he would have caught the pass for a first down, the play wouldn't have counted.
Interesting. Well, you gave us something to think about there, Dave. You're right, though, Perloff, that they were playing the result. But I still...
But he's right. It's not a free play. It's not like when the defense goes off sides.
No. It wasn't anything like that.
So, but it's being portrayed by...
It was a stopped third down.
Yeah, I understand what Dave's saying. I still understand why Bengals fans are mad about it.
Yeah, it was shocking at the time.
Because the Bengals did stop them, and it's frustrating because they kind of felt like they earned that play.
That, and it also felt like the tide, maybe this is just me now, but it felt like the tide was kind of turning a bit towards the Bengals, and then you get the third down play and the redo, and I really blame the official because you've got to sell that. I don't care if it's loud. It's been loud the whole game. This is now into the third quarter. We know that the fans in Arrowhead are going nuts. You've got to adjust as a ref and do everything you can to blow that play dead. You can't just all of a sudden after the fact be like, oh, the clock started and now we have to redo the play. At that moment, ludicrous.
What do you want him to run up and do a flying body wedge into Travis Kelce?
Yeah.
What do you want here?
I want him to basically do the electric slide out there. You got to do whatever to get attention.
What if he had injured Patrick Mahomes in his desperation to stop the play?
He was 20 yards down the field. He could have done cartwheels there. It would have taken him forever to get
What
to
if he had ripped down his pants or something like that? What is the most extreme thing that he should have done in your mind?
I thought I was going to say throw the flag, but if you want to say de-pants himself, then sure.
No, he's got to strip down and get naked. That's the only way the guys know the play's not on.
That'd be funny. He's like, oh my gosh, there's a streaker on the field. It's like, nope, I'm sorry, that's the down judge, Larry Johnson. I don't know his name.
I mean, doing cartwheels, that's not easy. These guys are older. You think Carl Sheffers can do a cartwheel?
So you got to set off a flare or something.
They don't have flare. They can, they have, all they are armed with is a shirt, pants, and 2 flags or 3. How many flags do they have? So you got to de-pant. That's the only appropriate move as an
Take
official.
off your shirt. It's like, and the official has taken off his shirt.
I mean, the Hockleys would have done that in a second.
Hockleys are actually, they want to do the game.
Yeah, but I don't think anyone would have stopped if Ed Hockley had taken off his shirt. They'd be like, oh, there goes Ed.
Ed's like a little which way to the gun show, putting his bicep up.
So you're not buying that it was too loud excuse at all?
No, and also, I know it's loud, but you've been dealing with the noise through the first half. Find a way to adjust. And secondly, the Chiefs were on offense. So it wasn't nearly as loud as it would have been if the Bengals were on offense, because everyone knows that. You get loud at home, you get loud when your team's on offense, you get loud when your team's on defense, not offense.
Absolutely. I have a little bit
Fandom 101.
I have a little bit of an issue with this holding call on the play where Patrick Mahomes was hit late out of bounds. So Gene Steratore explained that he thought there was enough restriction to call holding on our show yesterday.
Yep.
Kind of went viral.
Yep.
There are too many armchair experts on holding out there. The only people I want to hear about holding from are NFL football players, ex-NFL football players, and officials. Because I think no matter how much football you watch, I think there's so much subtlety to holding. Am I wrong? Should I become an expert in holding? But I read so much about it over the last 2 days, and there's so many different facets that I think that is a really hard one to understand.
Well, listen, the official said that, Gene Steratore said it. He thought that it was holding, so we got to go with what he said, I think, over, no offense, Jeff Schwartz and,
I think Gene Steratore is great, but just because he said it doesn't mean it's fact. We've seen a lot of the TV analysts be wrong. And also,
I know, but he's getting the training that, in theory, these other refs are getting.
Oh, okay.
It's holding when the ref says it's holding.
Who is that guy on CBS who couldn't predict the right call? Sorry.
Who was Ack will remember? Who was the original rules analyst for CBS?
Not Mike Pereira, but
his name started with an L.
But anyway,
right?
And Gene Steratore is usually right, by the way. But I think that just because he said it doesn't mean it's definitely fact. A lot of these calls that they weigh in on it, he was kind of giving his opinion, because there are contrary opinions out there from a lot of people that was not a hold.
So we have a little sound from Tom Brady. Is that right? All right, let's hear a little from Tom Brady. Let's Go podcast with Jim Gray talking about how refs should call penalties.
Clear, obvious, and indisputable, and prolonged. And I think that in the end of the day, that would be my barometer for throwing flags. That would be my barometer for taunting. Was it clear? Was it obvious? And was it prolonged? If it meets those criteria, penalty. It could be clear, but it could be quick, and it doesn't really affect the play that much. All those things I think would be a better barometer for throwing those flags.
Listen, Tom Brady gets it. Why didn't that referee get it?
Well, that guy wasn't going to catch Patrick Mahomes, so it didn't affect the play.
No, but what he's saying about clear, obvious, prolonged.
Right. So I don't think that hold was clear, obvious, and prolonged, and I don't think it would have affected the play.
Well, no holding is going to be prolonged, right? It's always a quick play.
I think it does have to be a certain amount of prolonged. Just because you grab onto the jersey outside the shoulder pads doesn't mean you have to hold it for a little bit.
Yeah,
Holding, not hold.
As the defender is trying to get away.
I told you, I don't want to hear from us on holding. It is. Will you admit there is some subtlety to it that is hard for, I think, people at home on TV to understand?
I'm sorry. I'm just starting to think, what other things in your life would you describe as clear, obvious, and prolonged? I know.
Wait, are you going, what?
I know. It's me.
Is that part of the TB12 method?
Yeah, something. There's something, yeah. I hesitate. Mike Carey was the name of the man who was the original.
He wasn't great.
He got it wrong a lot.
Well, I mean,
and his presence was left much to be desired as well.
Watch the telecast. I say rules analysts are about 50% on replays. They are not. They have no idea.
Oh, Steve Javi went through a portion on for basketball.
Yeah.
It was just like, But, listen, that's why it's comfortable to be in the booth, because even if you're wrong, you're right,
But you're not, though.
Well,
especially if it's a instant replay.
Nothing matter. Like, nothing, it doesn't hurt you that much.
Unless you're Mike Carey.
Unless you're Mike Carey, we just name-check you. Hey, got Gene Steratore now.
And by the way, all right, not calling you out, but everybody who thought that was so obvious and how could they screw up the Devontae Smith catch, that was not obvious. That was so hard to see. There must have been 50 angles, and you hit the 17th one within 18 seconds.
Perloff, it was clear, it was obvious, and it was prolonged that it was not a catch.
Okay.
Listen, lucky you got away with one. Don't worry about it.
You were watching live, right?
I was watching live, yes.
Did you say to yourself before the snap of the next play that was not a catch?
No, but I saw, like everyone else, they're really hurrying to the line here. That's a little bit of a red flag. No pun intended that Kyle Shanahan should have thrown a red flag. But it was clear, it was obvious, it was prolonged. Let's not put that as the poll question. Let's get to Rich Ackerman in just a moment. Coming up, we got to get to Mike McCarthy. Okay, we'll get to Mike McCarthy. Kellen Moore has parted ways with Dallas Cowboys. He's now the offensive coordinator for the Los Angeles Chargers. Can Mike McCarthy make this offense better in Dallas? We'll get to that after this CBS Sports Update from Rich Ackerman.
Sports Flag.
Well, Frank Reich is going back to Carolina for his next stop. He was an original Panther, starting their first game at quarterback. For all of his experience and background on offense, he wants to stress defense with this team.
Top 10 defense is going to give you a chance in every game, but a top 5 defense is what really can elevate you as a team, that you can not only be in every game, but you can find a way to win every game when you've got a top 5 defense.
The Cardinals are still looking for a coach and are speaking with Giants offensive coordinator Mike Kafka today. The Pelicans had been a good story, but not lately, going from the top spot in the West all the way down to 8th. They'll try to halt an 8-game skid tonight in Denver. Injuries have been a big factor. Zion Williamson hasn't played in nearly a month, and C.J. McCollum and Brandon Ingram missed Sunday's loss. The Nuggets lead the West, but have dropped back-to-back games. The Bucks are chasing the Celtics in the East, 2.5 games back. They go for their 5th straight win tonight against the Hornets. Giannis Antetokounmpo coming off a season-high 50 in Sunday's win. He has averaged over 38 points a game in his last 4. Kansas State meets 8th-ranked Kansas at Allen Fieldhouse. The 7th-ranked Wildcats looking for their first season sweep of the Jayhawks in 40 years. Kansas has owned the interstate rivalry during the Bill Self era, winning 38 of the last 45 meetings. I'm Rich Ackerman.
The Eagles will play the Chiefs in the Super Bowl in 2 weeks. Brandon Graham from the Philadelphia Eagles stops by the Zach Gelb Show later, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 Pacific.
15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. So glad to have you with us today. It's Tuesday. Aaron Rodgers responded to our Romeo Doubs conversation. We'll get to Mike McCarthy taking over all offensive responsibilities, reportedly including the play calling after the ousting of Kellen Moore in just a moment. But Frank is calling from North Carolina, has a thought from the weekend. What's up, Frank?
Hey, thanks for taking the call. It was basically, I mean, I know you guys were just hitting on the penalties and late hits and that stuff, the side penalty on Mahomes. But the other one I was going back to was the kicker, and just this whole rule in general is like the block, running into the kicker, right? It was not malicious in any way, and they got the call. They went to a million different replays. They split hairs. We watched it in, 240 frames a second, whatever it is. And the guy is like, you look at it, he comes off the line, he gets engaged, he gets turned inside, his momentum is already carrying forward. There's nothing malicious about this guy going after the kicker, but his momentum leads him into the leg as he's falling. Boom, there's a penalty, first down.
And he got pushed. I thought he was getting pushed into the kicker more than anything.
It was hard to tell, and I just think, like, overall, I'm looking back at the whole season, it's like, man, the two things I've been really frustrated with the most are penalties like this, where they're getting penalized via first down for a non-malicious hit. A lot of it's momentum after the fact of the play. The catch rule, is it a catch? Is it? I don't know what a catch is anymore. I couldn't tell you. I don't think we have to go back to the days of clotheslines and WWE style stuff. But I mean, I need to make it. It's got to get more clear. It's too much replay and it's overanalyzed to split frame by frame to say, okay, there's possession. But now there's movement, so now this doesn't count. Well, in a split second, you slow anything down. I mean, you can freeze frame anything and
you'll
get a
find
completely
something.
Different perspective.
Totally. It's funny because all the camera angles, all the slow-mo, the ability to challenge, the NFL replay review, and yet we still feel like a lot of times things aren't right. Still, the wrong call is out there. Frank, thank you so much for your call.
So Sports Illustrated's Mike Rosenberg, a friend of ours, wrote a column today saying the late hit on Patrick Mahomes should not be a 15-yard penalty because there was no maliciousness, just as Frank said. Now, here's the problem. If you start making 5-yard penalties on late hits or quarterback hits, the defense wants to kill the quarterback. That's how you win football games. You have to have a pretty strong penalty because you basically Mike Patton once told me, the former Browns defense coordinator for a long time, that everybody thinks in the NFL, every defensive guy thinks, take the head off the dragon and the body will fall.
Right.
You know that expression?
I thought it was the snake, but sure.
Yeah, maybe snake. He called it the dragon.
The dragons aren't real.
It's the Buddy Ryan. It's the Buddy Ryan coach philosophy. These defense, they want to kill the quarterback.
Absolutely.
They want to do what the Eagles did to Brock Purdy. If Tom Brady's a Niners quarterback, as you want next year, they're going to try to take him out of the game. So I think you can't go from 15-5 on quarterback hits, at least at that one thing.
Yeah. What about if it's 5 yards? Or 10, 15 just seems so punitive.
But if it's 5 yards, those guys are going to go for the head.
They're going to go for it all the time.
The late hit, maybe it's a different situation. But I think he was talking about everything.
Well, also the roughing the kicker. Does that need to be 15
Well,
yards?
that's supposed to have a 5-yard option, right?
Well,
I don't know why they didn't use it.
Running into the kicker.
That's what happened.
I know, but they called roughing.
I don't know why. That was a mistake. I agree with Frank.
That one I also didn't understand.
But, everyone is saying that the Bengals were screwed over and the Niners were screwed over. How about the Eagles punting into the wire and nobody saying anything, Maggie?
Because you end up winning by 3 scores.
It's amazing they won that game with all this misjustice.
I know. What no one will answer about that really quickly. Why couldn't they just look at the Sky Judge camera and see, hey, is it all of a sudden look like, I don't know, a football ran into it? Like it's going fine and then it's swinging wildly?
But that's not really visual evidence. You need to see the ball hit the wire. Right? I think this is circumstantial.
Can we put 2 and 2 together?
What if the wind caught that camera at the right time?
To make it shake?
I think we need an entire court case on this.
Yeah.
Yes, of course. It was really windy on Sunday. It easily could have made. Oh, you're saying cameras shake in the wind all the time?
No, but if it's going on a trajectory and then all of a sudden it looks like it gets hit by a football, that would help your case, Eagle fan.
I understand, but I think it's hard to tell. This is the whole thing about officiating and what Frank said about catch or catch. You have to understand we are highly critical because we have these giant TVs with 100 million cameras and 100 million replays and slow-mo, and still 99% of the time there's an instant replay and we don't even know the answer. So how are these officials supposed to get it in real time?
Okay, here's a reason why I don't have any sympathy for the officials, because we all are watching on 50-inch TVs in 4K. This is why I don't have any sympathy. Think of what you've asked some of these players to do in terms of adjusting how they play. You've asked now defensive linemen who are like 350 pounds to somehow try to stop in midair their own momentum and weight so that they don't just merely fall on a quarterback, let alone actually trying to tackle them and do harm. Just falling on them. They've asked defensive players in particular to change so much about how they play. Boo-hoo for you refs that you also are now, like, you get criticized because we all have a million angles in high def. I can't cry for you. The players make adjustments. The refs have to make adjustments.
Okay, what was the call that was so outrageous that a ref really screwed up? What was the Saints-Rams call this weekend?
I thought the hold was, but we're going to disagree on that.
Oh, my gosh, that hold happens. There were 50 plays in the game that had holds like that.
I thought there was a very clear block in the back on the Sky Moore
that one was controversial,
return.
too. A lot of people say it was the angle that Moore turned on him and that the guy was just happened to be the wrong place at the wrong time, and it wasn't an intentional block in the back.
It was 2 guys together.
Yeah. I don't know. Was that so blatant?
I've seen less get called, that's for sure.
Okay, I don't know. That's not exactly, to me, it wasn't Rams Saints where the guy tackled the receiver 2 seconds before the ball got there.
That and like Armando Galarraga, those could be 2 of the worst calls of all time you're talking about, right? Wasn't it Galarraga with Jim Joyce?
Jim Joyce.
Yeah. Those 2 might be 2 of the worst you're talking about. Was it the worst I've ever seen? No, but were there calls missed? Yes. And on top of that, the redo of the 3rd down was just, we'd never seen anything like it.
Okay, well, you agree with this at least, that there were probably even worse calls in the 70s, 80s, 90s that just everybody missed. And I would argue that calls
Des Bryant. We don't have to go back to the 80s.
Well, you could argue that he didn't complete the at least there's an argument there. That was a bang-bang play. It was 50% either way. But can you imagine how many officiating so much better now than it was probably in 1988. I guarantee I think they have more officials on the field.
Yeah.
They all know their different mechanics. They have replay. They have this instant fast replay. I keep forgetting the name of it.
Yeah, replay assist.
Replay assist. It is so much more accurate now than it used to be, and all we do is complain.
I know, but think about it. They also have to be more buttoned up because they're in bed with the gambling sports books. Like, you have to, and still people were claiming there was, nefarious, and there's, people going down conspiracy theories that the NFL is rigged. That is really important to them. They have to make sure that they do everything they can to make sure things are on the up and up.
I hear you, but you can't say that officiating is worse than ever. Do you think in 1988 they would have caught that Devontae Smith non-catch? We had no chance. There's no replay.
Well, so you and I, this is going back now to the Bengals-Bills game, the Jamar Chase touchdown that ended up getting overturned and called not a touchdown. Call me old-fashioned. I don't mind that that's a touchdown. I think that, like Devontae Smith, I don't mind that that's actually called a catch. Like, I think there are such incredible athletic, acrobatic, plays that almost deserve to be rewarded.
I hear you, but that's how close it is. I'm saying these are rules that you could still argue about. You're even calling a play. You're like, well, they got the right call, but I don't think that should be the call. But my point is, this is so close. You're telling me that these guys are supposed to be perfect when we are parsing these plays down to the 10th of a second? It's impossible.
Well, that's why I almost am just like a let the call stand kind of person. I love replay.
I hear you.
But I'm like a neighborhood rule kind of person.
Yeah. I know, until it doesn't work. Until there's a play that is screwed up in the Super Bowl.
Just wait, we still have time. There's still a moment for your bad roughing the passer. Okay, coming up, Mike McCarthy, the latest.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Is that the worst thing you can do to a coworker? Is take their Diet Dr. Pepper out of the fridge? Because I didn't do it, but the thought crossed my mind. And actually, my second thought was, wow, Maggie would just kill me if I did this.
I mean, listen, you could sleep with somebody's wife. That'd be worse.
I don't think it's
taking their soda, but
you mean like Boston Celtics style? No, I don't think. Honestly, I don't think that's worse. I mean, I think it's about time. If I had put a Diet Dr. Pepper in the fridge to go with my lunch and somebody took it, I
would be more upset than if it was like, hey, by the way, Dale is sleeping with your wife.
That Dale. I would want to.
And he's got Dr. Pepper. Dale, you're forgiven.
I would want to punch Dale if he was sleeping with my wife. If he took my Diet Dr. Pepper, it'd be full on attack.
Here are Maggie and Perloff.
Perloff has an update on the Diet Dr. Pepper in just a moment. Welcome to Maggie and Perloff. So glad to have you. It's Tuesday. Okay, so big things happening in Dallas. Jerry Jones not on radio again today. I don't know why. The last 2 weeks now he hasn't been on, so we don't get updates from Jerry. But Perloff, obviously the big news is that Kellen Moore has now moved on to become the offensive coordinator with the Los Angeles Chargers. So that's a nice landing spot. You know, if you're going to have one team want to move on from you, to land with Justin Herbert is not bad. But let's focus on the Cowboys part of this for a second. So they fire Kellen Moore. They fired their offensive line coach. They fired the running backs coach and I believe the quarterback coach, I think. So
did you mention Leon Lett, which I love?
That's on the defensive side, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. But I just love that they fired him. I had no idea he was a coach. That's awesome.
So the offense is getting an overhaul. And one of the biggest changes is that now Mike McCarthy is going to be calling plays. And you could say that from the moment they hired Mike McCarthy, maybe he should have been calling plays to begin with. You hired him because he's an offensive-minded coach. Yeah. He's had success in the past. And the fact that Kellen Moore, which was an arranged marriage with McCarthy, Moore was a holdover from Jason Garrett's staff, that maybe, you know, that Mike McCarthy should have had a chance to implement his offense to begin with.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, McCarthy got a little long in the tooth for play calling. He sort of started to get passed over. I think at the end of Green Bay, I don't think their offense was considered super creative compared to Sean McVay and those offenses. So I know he's had a lot of success in the NFL calling plays, but I do think there was this thought, especially towards the end of Green Bay, he needed a little bit of an infusion of new blood, NFL play calling style.
No doubt. It was that it got stale and predictable.
So I don't think when he got to Dallas, not everybody said, oh, McCarthy's got to call the plays. It's not like Kyle Shanahan or Sean McVay got to Dallas. I think there was this idea that McCarthy's time might have passed.
Yeah, but don't forget, remember, he went on that whole tour where he talked to the Pro Football Focus guys, and now he was a whole new man.
What did he lie about? Seeing all these teams?
No, he lied about watching every snap that the Cowboys took the year before.
Minor detail. Put him in Congress.
Has he watched every snap this year?
Yeah. Are we going to find out that he was actually like dressing in drag in Brazil and representing a district in Long Island? No. I think that it's always funny to find out that your candidate was lying in the press conference when the cameras are all rolling. Anyway, Cowboys did a good job laughing that off. But here's the thing. Mike McCarthy now, I ask you, how much do you think he can really improve this offense? Because we have a lot of criticisms of the Dallas Cowboys about them, you know, not making it to the Super Bowl and how they've fallen short against the 49ers the last 2 years. But I think you'd have to be crazy to think that the offense was somehow broken. You were second in the league in yards and points behind only the Kansas City Chiefs. And you've been top 10 and top 5 for most of the seasons when McCarthy's actually a healthy quarterback. I mean, when Andy Dalton comes in for Dak Prescott, all right, you're going to fall off a bit of a cliff there. The defense wasn't that great either. But this was already a defense that functioned. Now, listen, I'm no Kellen Moore, like, fangirl. Mm-hmm. But is McCarthy going to actually make this better, considering this was already a very good offense?
This was a Jason Garrett offense.
Well, Jason Garrett would only go 8-8 every year.
But yes, the record was better because the defense picked up. But this is an offense that can churn out yards in the regular season. But when you go against the great defenses in the NFL, it's just not creative enough. How many and I'm stealing this from a lot of Cowboys writers write about this. What is the 3rd down and 8 play for the Cowboys? It's all the receivers go 9 yards and turn around at the stick and try and catch the ball. They're so predictable. Think about the interceptions in the Niners game. One of them was on a 2nd and 2 right after Tony Pollard got hurt.
Yeah.
It was 2nd and 2, and they throw a 4-yard pass to CeeDee Lamb. What is that play call? I didn't even understand what they were trying to do.
And it was like right in between two of the best defenders in the league.
And the other one was
not smart.
The really bad one by Dak when he double pumped and threw it. It got picked deep in their own territory. That was another boring Cowboys play. Think in your mind about the Cowboys offense. There's no pizzazz at all. It's really boring. They tried to run when it wasn't working this year. I just think that they need something different.
Okay, and again, Mike McCarthy has had success in the past, and he had Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre, and Dak Prescott is a good enough quarterback. I don't think he's amazing, but he's a good enough quarterback. But what makes you think McCarthy is really going to make this any different? I mean, you're saying it got stale. That's exactly the criticism that Mike McCarthy had at the end of the Green Bay era.
So I think that I know they wanted to establish the run this year, and we all say that's the cliche. They got this big offensive line, injury plagued or not, and they have Ezekiel Elliott. They're putting all this money. Then Tony Pollard emerges. I think they have to modernize and pass on early downs and make a different kind of pass. Like, make it easy for Dak. Have him hit wide open guys like Kyle Shanahan or Sean McVay. And the West Coast offense and Mike McCarthy came up. Sometimes you'll be able to do that. I think you need new life. Yes, they've had success. They've gotten a lot of yards, but it hasn't been exciting. And life, I hate to say this, it's going to sound like an excuse. It's got to be a little easier for Dak Prescott. He's got to have a couple more open guys.
Well, that could also be personnel. You know, you talk all the time about how we overrated the Cowboys' skill position players. You know, they never replaced Amari Cooper. Gallup, we knew, was injured coming in. Tony Pollard was a revelation. You already knew he was good last year, but I think he put himself into a new stratosphere this year and then unfortunately got hurt. You got Zeke Elliott. Yeah. That's an albatross. I mean, you got to get rid of that. He's past his prime for what you need. You need speed. And
I know. And now I don't know,
have that.
because we don't know if Pollard's going to be ready to go next year. I would assume not. That's a bit of a problem. Yeah, I mean, here's another problem. Who did they against Tampa Bay? Their offense could not have looked better, but a lot of that was Dak freelance on some plays. Against San Francisco, Dak cannot run, and I'll tell you why. Because San Francisco can chase down anyone. They made Jalen Hurts look completely mortal on his feet until the end of the game when they wore out.
Yeah.
So I think Dak being injured all the time and not being able to run full time takes away a little bit of this as well. If Dak could have run against San Francisco and gotten something going and churned out some first downs with his legs, it would help so much. But San Francisco's so fast up front. I think a big function of what went wrong was San Francisco. They're so good. And Kellen Moore, clearly, you need to try something different because Kellen Moore is not the answer. They hit this wall 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
So bring in McCarthy. I think you pass more on first down, that kind of stuff. You know, modern football stuff. If McCarthy really learned from his meeting with Pro Football Focus, he'll know analytics. It's just got to be easier. It just feels like a stale offense to me.
It definitely felt very same. And there was part of it where it was like, I know Jason Garrett is gone, but is he? You know?
Wow.
Like, they were a better team, you're right, because of the defense, but a lot of the offense kind of looked a lot similar. You know, when Tony Romo told us they were going to go back to, you know, leaning more on the run game, I mean, kind of. I mean, sort of. I don't think they really committed like they did back in 2018. It didn't look like that necessarily.
Because it wasn't working. Zeke was nobody could turn a 15-yard gain, especially that San Francisco game. He had holes that were the size of the ocean that ended up being 3-yard carries.
Yeah.
So, but by the way, there are reports that McCarthy will hire an offensive coordinator. So there might be some. You ready for the new blood that they could bring in? Some exciting new ideas?
Yeah, lay it on me. What do we have?
I think this is from the Fort Worth Star-Telegram. Names like Brian Schottenheimer.
Oh, Schotty's already in the building, buddy. He was a...
he's already there?
He's already there. He was, and this is, I'll give them credit. This is, I don't know how many teams do this, but he was in charge of creating an offensive game plan, what he thought their opponent's offensive game plan was going to be every week, and then going against Dan Quinn.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So he's been in the building. Who else you got? Oh, Brian Schottenheimer. Don't say that to Samter or any Jets fan around here. They start puking.
Okay. You want to go really new blood? I guess Ben McAdoo has had a relationship with his team.
Only if he brings the hair gel. You know, to be honest, though, like, that offense didn't look totally awful considering their quarterbacks were terrible in Carolina this year.
A young pup who has never been around, a new guy, give him a chance. Tom Clements, former Packers assistant. He's only been around since Favre's rookie year. Then someone named Frank Signetti Jr., great name. He sounds old, but he's actually not that old. Frank Signetti Jr.
He does sound like someone sitting around playing dominoes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Let me see. He's 57, so he's not young either. Then there's a couple other names. One name was Byron Leftwich is out there. I'm not sure. I mean, he's coming off a down year. That's not a bad hire. But the other thing, too, Byron Leftwich isn't exactly cutting edge. That offense was pretty standard in Tampa Bay. I don't know.
So why not, someone fire up Jared's private jet, fly over to Bangkok, and try to pull Cliff Kingsbury out of whatever,
that's pretty
tea house he's sitting in right now.
That's pretty good. Cliff would be pretty good. I would like that.
I mean, everyone says he's great as an offensive coordinator. We know he's not really cutting it as a head coach.
But he wants to play call, and now McCarthy's going to play call.
That's true. You're not going to play call. You're going to be more of a strategist.
Yeah, I love that. That's a great solution.
Maybe. I mean, you want to talk about someone being a little more innovative.
I mean, you can't get more Texas than Cliff. It makes perfect sense.
Yeah, that's true.
So I'm actually shocked that Cliff Kingsbury's not the head coach.
No,
he's got all the elements of somebody that Jerry would love.
I know, except for the fact that he was a disaster in his last stop.
I know, but I mean, the fact that the Cardinals got to Cliff before Jerry did, because Cliff is Mr. Isn't he? I don't know. So he went to Texas Tech. I don't know where he's from originally. He's from Texas. He's from San Antonio. Okay. But, I mean, Jerry must be infatuated with Cliff Kingsbury. No? That's amazing. I've never heard this until you just brought it up.
I don't know. I mean, he's definitely one of the top offensive people available, right? Well, I don't know if I understand why exactly.
Are you leaving Thailand for Dallas? Come on, let's be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, he might be permanently in Thailand. This just might be the new lifestyle. We may never see
Cliff Kingsbury again.
Yeah.
I got dibs on the bachelor pad.
Well, I was wondering about him. He just signed a new contract with the Cardinals. Does he have incentive not to take a new job? Well, what's his offset situation?
Yeah, I was going to say, once he gets a new job, they probably only have to pay the balance of what he would be making, right?
I don't know. Maybe they don't have to pay him anymore once he gets a new job, in which case...
Thailand it is.
Thailand it is. Because he wants that dough.
Yeah, I would also... Have you gotten your scuba license yet? I've heard it's a great place to do that.
You don't think the Cowboys is so attractive that they could make somebody do a lateral move? Like, they're not going to get Brian Callahan from the Bengals or anything like that.
Or the guy Ben Johnson from the Lions or something like that. I don't think so.
I don't think so either. Now, I understand, by the way, a change of coordinator. You don't think that can make a difference? Look at what happened with Dan Quinn. Remember the year Andy Dalton was in Dallas? That defense was so bad.
Who was that, Mike Nolan?
I think it was Mike Nolan. I think that's right. They were setting all kinds of records for NFL ineptitude. Then Dan Quinn immediately came in there. So you needed Dan Quinn on offense.
Well, they also did some nice things with Diggs, who ended up having a career year with interceptions.
Until the other day, but yes.
And then you draft Parsons, is going to make every defensive coordinator look a lot better. So that was a combo platter.
I 100% disagree with that.
Really?
They went from 32nd in the NFL to 2nd in the NFL.
No, Quinn's been great.
Yeah, Quinn he's made them accountable.
Which is funny. Can't sniff a head coaching job right now.
Well, yeah, I know. That's weird.
We'll get into the Denver situation later.
He said he went back to Dallas on his own accord.
Yeah, unfinished business.
So,
likely story.
Here's the other thing. Kellen Moore and Dak Prescott are really tight.
Yeah, they were teammates.
Do you need somebody who is not tight with Dak Prescott to hold him accountable? That could be a good reason, too.
Listen, as Aaron Rodgers told us earlier, there are some leaders who just want to be liked and other people who want to be respected.
Yeah, it's Kellen Moore. I mean,
I have no idea.
Yeah,
I have no idea.
I don't predict this Chargers offense. I'll bet you they churn up a lot of regular season yards, score a lot of points. I don't know that Kellen Moore, Justin Herbert, Mike Williams, Keenan Allen. I don't know if that's any different than Dallas.
It should be.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, let's focus on McCarthy for now, though. I want to hear from the Dallas Cowboys fans. Do you think McCarthy is going to make this offense better? Period. Well, question mark. I was going to say period, full stop, but that would be grammatically incorrect. Do you think Mike McCarthy will make this offense better? Question mark. Yes or no? 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Of course, you're welcome to call in. You can tweet us at Maggie and Pearl. You can get involved in our YouTube chat, which is on fire right now. Honestly, the fact that we haven't had this YouTube chat for this long makes me feel bamboozled.
Incomplete.
855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Will the Dallas Cowboys offense be better now that Mike McCarthy is calling plays? Let's get on board. Let's go. More Maggie and Perloff right after this.
You're in a 5-minute break.
Sorry, I just need to see if this guy, Doug Nussmeier, get fired. Oh, wait. No, I think I was right. I'm right. Yep.
4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. Minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Back on Maggie and Perloff. So, what is it today? It is January 31st. We have not had any official hires yet, have we?
Yeah.
Do we have any? Oh, Frank Reich. Frank Reich. Yeah, but that one doesn't. Who cares? That's just a retread, goes to Carolina. Okay. But none of the big dominoes have fallen. But it sounds, Maggie, like we're getting close.
Yeah, let's hit it.
What the is
Sean Payton
up to today?
All right, things are starting to move here, y'all. This comes according to Ian Rappaport. You know, I'm going to give you the Schefter one instead. Schefter's got a little bit more detail. According to Adam Schefter of ESPN, Denver and the Saints have been discussing 2 potential packages for Sean Payton. They are finalizing compensation in return for Super Bowl winning head coach Sean Payton. Okay, do you want to hear the 2 packages? So it looks like this is happening now between Sean Payton and the Denver Broncos.
Yeah.
Here are the 2 packages that are on the table. Denver would trade their 2023 first-round pick and next year's second-round pick for Payton and the Saints' 2024 third. So a first-round pick and a second-round pick. They get Payton and a third-round pick back.
I thought Denver didn't have any. Oh, because they had the Bradley Chubb pick?
There you go.
So that's not really their pick. It's like the 25th pick or something.
Yeah, whatever the Dolphins.
Oh,
yeah.
But it's not the juicy. Okay. All right.
No. The juicy picks goes to Seattle.
Yeah, what a shame.
Number 2 option, Denver's 2024 first-round pick and a 2023 fourth-round pick. The Saints get to choose which one they want.
Okay.
So what's interesting about this, well, you know, and they'll decide what they want, but obviously they're fine giving up some significant compensation to get Sean Payton in the building, let alone whatever they're going to pay him, which we're not sure, $20 million, something like that. So this was crazy because Denver, Perloff, had been like striking out on coaches. You know, it got a little weird.
Had they, though? How do we know?
Well, because they had the long interview with Sean Payton. Then there was like a report that he didn't think he was going to get along or there was going to be friction with someone in the ownership group. And then he decided to put his second interview on hold so that he could go to the Arizona Cardinals. Mm-hmm. And now all of a sudden he's back. Remember, just over the weekend, you got the report that the Broncos had flown up to Ann Arbor to talk to Jim Harbaugh again.
So, but my question is,
days before signing day?
So their first choices were Payton and Harbaugh all along, right? Obviously.
Yeah, but I think they did probably like 5 or 6 interviews in between.
Right. Because they didn't know if they were going to be able to negotiate deals with those guys. But is it true? Are we sure they offered DeMeco Ryans? Are we sure they offered Dan Quinn?
Well, DeMeco Ryans, remember how it was reported was that he turned the job down and is going to Houston.
So, okay. So we know as a fact they made an offer to DeMeco Ryans.
We know what's reported. We don't know as a fact.
And where do you think those reports are coming from? From agents?
Agents, sure.
I don't know. I like to see. So you're painting a picture where they wanted Sean Payton, struck out on him, interviewed a bunch of other guys. They all said no, and then they're coming back to Sean Payton. Something doesn't sound right about all that.
Well, no, I think that do you believe the story that there might have been friction with someone?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
I do, but I have a feeling, and I'm basing this on the outcome that it seems apparent now. I don't think it was always done with Payton, the way people had portrayed it.
I don't know if it was always done, but listen, this is not a great way. I don't want to rain on the Denver Broncos parade here and their fans. You've been through enough just the season with Hackett, but, you know, it's not a great start when the reports are that the head coach might have friction with somebody in the building.
Yeah.
And now this is where you're going to start this marriage when there's already been something that popped up in the interview round. You don't even get a honeymoon period.
Just be careful. Be careful being skeptical about a hire, because I remember Super Bowl coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, Nick Sirianni. Nobody liked that hire.
Nobody liked the Doug Peterson hire in Jacksonville. Look at what happened. They made the playoffs.
Everyone hated the Doug Peterson hire.
Which I never understood.
Everyone said the Eagles struck out on on all their guys and had to settle with Doug Peterson, and he won the Super Bowl 2 years later. I just think I don't really look at the situation and say, oh, they screwed up, they lost Sean Payton, then they had to come back to him, because I don't know. If they get Sean Payton, they're the clear winner of this whole cycle by a mile.
And it looks like it's a done deal. So the Denver Broncos have decided, according to Adam Schefter, it's going to be the 2023 first-round pick and next year's second-round pick for Sean Payton, and the Saints' 2024 third-round pick. So it's going to be the lesser of their 2 first-round picks and a second-round pick.
So I have a question. When you said there were choices before, were they crowdsourcing via Schefter on Twitter about which deal? Why did we know that level of information? That was bizarre.
This is the second time. You remember the last offseason, or was Tyreek Hill was choosing between the Jets and the Dolphins?
We all knew. And we all got to put ourselves into the conversation. Here's what I would do if I was Tyreek.
We're talking about the taxes and how they're different in New Jersey versus Florida.
Purely, that's all agent work. Yeah. But anyway, this is great. You know when it really looked good for Sean Payton? And I know that there were some ups. When the report came out that he wanted to work with Russell Wilson. Because isn't that the key here, that he's comfortable that he can turn around Russell Wilson?
It's got to be. Well, first of all, the money, I think, is probably going to be something. But of course,
I don't think the money.
Russell Wilson is going to be there. He's locked in now for the next couple years. Like, that's your one and only job, quite frankly. Especially if they end up keeping their defensive coordinator, that guy did a fantastic job, and he went on several head coaching interviews. Ejiro Viro, he was like a hot commodity on the defensive side.
Well, and also, I will say that you didn't really need much of a defense when Russell Wilson was scoring 8.5 points a game. So the other team wasn't exactly pushing the envelope on their offense. But that's besides the point.
But still, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that he wants to work with Russell Wilson. You heard Rap Sheet today on the Pat McAfee show when we were listening to see what Aaron Rodgers said about us.
Yeah.
He said that don't overestimate the Walton wealth. A lot of people can afford to pay Sean Payton $20 million. So and maybe I'm being totally naive, I don't think it's the money. I think it's the opportunity to win as well. Sean Payton has to believe in this job, because you can't pay a coach enough to be 3-14. That's miserable.
No, I get it. Listen, we looked at the Denver job and said, on the outside, this looks like the best job. Now, it comes with the expectations that you got to win right away.
Well, is that lowered a little bit now?
Oh, because Russell Wilson doesn't look like his old self?
Because they won 4 games this year or whatever.
I mean, it's still Russell Wilson.
It's not Super Bowl or bust.
You're still paying him a ton.
They also just traded their best defensive player, or one of their best defensive players.
Yeah, well, that turned out to be a brilliant trade, because he didn't do much in Miami.
Well, that pick went directly for Sean Payton.
Yeah, so it helps bring, a Super Bowl winning head coach into the building.
Would you trade Bradley Chubb for Sean Payton?
Bradley Chubb was a disappointment in Miami.
Because he was hurt, though. More because he was hurt.
I think wasn't he on the field at the end of the season?
He was there in the Buffalo game.
Yeah, but he was good in the Buffalo game. At least he had that strip sack almost.
Okay.
Yeah, he was not bad in the Buffalo game.
So here's the thing: why immediately Sean Payton's? I think the expectation is a playoff game, but he's got Garrett Bowles, his left tackle, coming back. That's huge. Javonte Williams, assuming he's healthy, they're running back. That's huge. And Tim Patrick is such a difference maker. I know nobody talks about him, but to have a solid guy who can run around and catch a football for Russell Wilson
isn't that all their jobs if you're a receiver?
Yeah, I think that is going to be huge. I think Sean Payton's going to come in there with new personnel because of injury last year and immediately look better. So I think he saw that. He's like, ooh, I can look okay here. I don't need to break in any rookies. I got a bunch of old guys. I can do this.
I guess it really comes down to whether or not you think that Sean Payton is going to have the same effect on Russell Wilson that he had on Drew Brees. It's like shorter quarterbacks, and listen, he was with him all the way through the end of his career, Brees, I'm saying, and even to the point where when the Saints really needed to throw deep passes, they were bringing Taysom Hill in. I mean, they did everything they could to really prop up Drew Brees for those last couple of years when his arm wasn't very good.
Right, and
Russell Wilson's arm is still fine. I'm not making that complaint.
Yeah. And the thing about Sean Payton, too, is he didn't need high first-round pick receivers. He could take any scrub off the street and turn them into a 70-catch guy. I don't think – was Marcus Colston drafted? Late-round pick, if anything. He turned these unknown wide receivers into real weapons in New Orleans. Now he actually has name wide receivers. There's Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton, Tim Patrick.
Yep.
I'm not sure what they ended up doing. Dulcich, the tight end, they really liked him. So he's got weapons here. Another thing about Sean Payton, isn't he great at getting the running back into the pass catching game?
Well, Alvin Kamara.
Yeah, Kamara, and even before that. So he's going to run an offense that helps Russell Wilson. I'm so excited for Denver fans. Don't you think that this is the best this could have worked out?
Definitely.
Way better than Harbaugh. Way better than Jim Harbaugh.
Harbaugh is a totally different. I mean, listen, but Harbaugh's winning percentage in the NFL, like that's you can't like.
Is Sean Payton really better than Jim Harbaugh? I mean, Sean Payton had Drew Brees for all 15 years of his career, basically. Drew Brees is one of the all-time top 10 greatest quarterbacks. Jim Harbaugh had Colin Kaepernick and Alex Smith and went to 2 NFC championship games and turned around a franchise that was terrible, and they turned them into perennial contenders.
Yeah, but their offense was not today. You want this offense to be in top 10 in the league. I don't think
Kaepernick and Alex Smith
were those top 10 offenses. I remember.
I'm saying they weren't top 10 offenses, but he didn't have Russell Wilson. I'm not saying Russell Wilson is
no, but Kaepernick was so different. I mean, they're totally different running quarterbacks. Like, well, Russell Wilson was a running quarterback, but not to the point where like Kaepernick was a lot bigger than Russell Wilson and just different running style.
Yeah, I'm curious where that offense ranks under Harbaugh. I like Harbaugh, too. Actually, I shouldn't have said.
No, but think about it, their run game was also incredible. Remember, they had that amazing offensive line that Trent Williams was still a part of, right? No, he wasn't on that offensive. He was in Washington, He was in Washington, got traded. They had from
Joe Staley
there
Joe
forever.
Staley is in the news right now.
And they had, what's his face from Michigan, from Miami, the running back who's going to go to the Hall of Fame. Frank Gore, thank you, whose son is now in the NFL or whatever. That's like
#old.
Yeah, no thanks.
I think that's a really interesting question. If you're the Broncos, do you rather have Sean Payton or Jim Harbaugh?
Come on, you have a short quarterback. You have to go Sean Payton. He's a prototypical Sean Payton quarterback, whereas a prototypical.
Well, no, I mean Drew Brees was a pocket quarterback who was super accurate. Russell Wilson can throw deep, but he's not super accurate.
Yeah, but Sean Payton creates great passing lanes. Russell Wilson is probably pretty accurate. What do you think?
I always feel like Russell Wilson was kind of accurate, but
what's his career percentage?
I don't know. We'll have to look it up. Anyway, this feels like a good marriage. Would Jim Harbaugh have been better? Listen,
No.
I think that Jim Harbaugh has shown that he can win in the NFL. I mean, his record was amazing. It was like 46-15 or something. I mean, he was great.
Yeah, but I don't remember if this is still true, but his prototypical quarterback was Andrew Luck at Stanford. He was a big, strong, mobile quarterback. He doesn't really seem like a Russell Wilson kind of guy. I'm sure he could have figured it out.
That's what Jim Harbaugh was.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and also, too, Jim Harbaugh is so intense. I don't know. This seems like a lot. Having Russell Wilson's personality and Jim Harbaugh's personality might have worked great, but it feels a little combustible. Feels like he would have moved on to the backup by week 8.
No, or they would have loved each other, and it would have been like a iron sharpen iron kind of thing. Where they're both strange people.
Yeah, definitely. Russell Wilson's 64.6 career completion percentage. He obviously didn't throw that much, but I think that's good. I don't know.
Yes and no. So this year, 31st in completion percentage.
Well, this year's
last year was 19th. 3 years ago was 19th. I mean, listen, he's not the most inaccurate quarterback, but he's also
68.8. Isn't that close to the all-time record? That's 19th.
Well, the other part too is you had this
year. In 2021 he was 64.8, and he was 19th behind Taylor Heineke and Kirk Cousins.
And you said the year before that he was 19th.
Okay,
yeah, and then 2020 he was much higher. He was like 5th. But 2018 again he was 19th. Again, not the most inaccurate, but not Drew Brees.
Well, the other part is he did have the thumb injury in 2021 with Seattle. I don't know. I like to see this, though. I love that they're giving this a shot.
And with coaching news comes more coaching news, because within seconds of the Sean Payton news, DeMeco Ryans was officially hired by the Texans. Within seconds. It was back-to-back.
There you go.
Which is very interesting.
A 6-year deal, according to ESPN.
That's 5 coaches in 4 years for the Texans.
Well, you know what, though? If I'm Ryans, who had a great career with the Texans, I need that kind of commitment, because you just fired 2 head coaches after one-and-done seasons. You got to give me something real here. I'm not taking a 3-year deal with your option for a 4th. No. This thing is going to take time to turn around.
I'm actually not sure. Does a 6-year deal guarantee anything in the NFL?
You can still get fired, but at least you're getting a little more money.
Yeah. Feels like a lot of Matt Rule had a 10-year deal, and he got fired after 2.5, right?
7-year deal, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think he got 7.
Gruden.
Gruden had the 10-year
deal.
Yeah. I wonder what Sean Payton's deal is. So this is another thing, not to gloss over DeMeco Ryans. We're going to give that its full due. But just going back to Denver for 1 second, I think this was really important for this new ownership group. Because last year was like a laughingstock for the Broncos, and you're coming in now. You just paid all this money. I know they have more money than anyone, but you just paid all this money for a franchise. You didn't hire Nathaniel Hackett. You didn't hire any of the coaches. You had to come in and show that this was going to be a serious organization. And I think the hiring of Sean Payton and trading for him shows that you're serious. You're serious about making it work with Russell Wilson, and you're serious about trying to be a winner.
Right, but the way you describe that, it sounds like winning the press conference, which is code for, this is a big-name hire.
Well, maybe you need to do both. Maybe you need to win the press conference, and you got to win on the field.
There's no connection.
There's not a connection.
There's not a single connection. I like the Sean Payton hire, but still, I understand what you're saying, but that's not always the best approach.
No,
to say we need to be serious, so we need to pay $20 million for Sean Payton. Whereas you look at some of the successful franchises have gone a different path and found a Sean McVay.
Right, but you need to legitimize and show people, I think, that you are going to change the culture in the building. The other part, too, is you just hired a guy who was a longtime coordinator who had never been a head coach. It failed miserably. I'm not saying the next guy would have failed. That's faulty logic to say that. But I can understand where they would want to boomerang the other way and say, all right, we need someone who's done this before.
But didn't they offer Ryans?
I don't know if they offered him. Maybe they did.
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
He turned him down.
And the other thing, too, is they need a veteran coach because they have all this money invested in Russell Wilson. There's no draft picks coming in. There's no slow build.
No, all the draft picks are gone.
And all the money. You have a lot of expensive players. You got to win right now. No, you're absolutely right. And I do agree with you. I was playing devil's advocate.
No,
I agree. The Walmarts want to.
The Walmarts.
They want to make a splash here. Now, I got to tell you, though, that's something to be a little nervous about. If you're an owner, you want to build the right way, not immediately fix this. So we'll see. I think Sean Payton's a great coach. I think most people do. So this is good.
I think it's good, but, at the same time, you're already coming into the relationship where there might have been some friction. Like, if we believe that report that Sean Payton put his second interview on hold because he thought there could be issues between himself and someone in the ownership group or management or whatever, all right, now you have a red flag.
Come on. There's always coworkers who hate each other. There's this guy in management I can't stand, but I don't bring it up. The other thing, too, by the way, maybe some former Sean Payton quarterbacks going to Denver to back him up. I'm thinking of Andy Dalton, but more importantly, Taysom Hill would bring back the Tebow days to Denver. Just bring Taysom Hill to Denver.
Yeah.
Let's go. That would be fun for no other reason. And pull out Russell Wilson once in a while, put in Taysom. Why not?
Sure. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. He's got 100 things to do, and the 101st is going to be to get Taysom Hill there.
No. You ever heard Sean Payton talk about Taysom Hill? It is a love affair that'll be his first priority. Wait till tomorrow.
Before the end of the day. Yeah.
He loves him some Taysom Hill. He's talked about him even since he left New Orleans. He said, man, I would love to run a team with Taysom Hill. Man. I'm telling you, he's into this.
I wish we loved anything as much as Sean Payton loved Taysom Hill. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. All right, want to hear from you, Denver Broncos fans. How are you feeling? NFL fans, do you think this is going to work, or do you feel like a little too good to be true? And also, DeMeco Ryans gets a head coaching job. Will the San Francisco defense now take a slide backwards? Okay, 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Of course, you're welcome to get involved with the show. YouTube.com/CBS Sports Radio is where we are streaming. You can get involved with the chat. A very welcoming group, these Weedos. Not pretentious at all. Newcomers, you're welcome to join. Tom and Carol Perloff, get in the chat.
They don't even know where they are half the time. What do you mean they're welcoming?
I know. We broke the news right when 420 happened, so I'm sure it was very disorienting for everybody. All right. Coming up, more reaction to Sean Payton and DeMeco Ryans getting hired right after this CBS Sports Update with Rich Ackerman.
CBS Sports Radio. Sports Flag.
And it's sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Your small business keeps you on the go. Progressive Commercial Insurance keeps your policy within reach with their easy-to-use mobile app. Learn more at progressivecommercial.com. One coaching vacancy has been filled, another reportedly done, another could be filled soon. The Saints and Broncos are reportedly finalizing compensation for Sean Payton that would allow the former Super Bowl winning head coach to take over the coaching reins in Denver. The Broncos would send their first-round pick, acquired from Miami, to New Orleans along with the second round of this year. D'Amico Ryans leaving San Francisco to return to Houston, reportedly agreeing to a 6-year deal to become the Texans' new head coach. And the Carolina Panthers introduced their new head man today, Frank Reich. He won a Super Bowl as an assistant with the Eagles, but came up short of duplicating that with the Colts. Plus, with another opportunity, he's determined to reach greater heights the second time around. The Cardinals, looking to fill their vacancy, are meeting with the Giants offensive coordinator Mike Kafka. There are 5 games in the NBA tonight, a big one in the East, where the Cavaliers host the Heat. Cleveland currently 5th in the Eastern Conference with a 2.5-game lead over surging Miami. I'm Rich Ecker.
Jim Rome here. Coming up Wednesday in the Jungle, a conversation with former All-Pro cornerback Eric Allen. See you Wednesday, 12 noon Eastern and 9 Pacific.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. Minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
All right, welcome back. The Defensive Player of the Week is sponsored by Navy Federal Credit Union, who proudly serves the Armed Forces, DoD veterans, and their families. Their members are the mission. Learn more at NavyFederal.org. Now, it's been really fun all season long guessing who Stu Kovacs is going to pick for the Defensive Player of the Week. This one's almost too easy. It's almost too easy. I think we should have to choose a second place person, because this one I know exactly who you're going with.
By the way, we'll get to the NFL coaching news in just a moment. I mean, it's usually someone from a winning team.
It's Chris Jones. Come on,
yeah, it's got to be Chris Jones.
Chris Jones.
Chris Jones, I mean, he was the finisher. He's the reason why the Chiefs are going to the Super Bowl. Yeah. And obviously Joseph Osai, but I don't think you were diabolical enough to make him the defensive player.
That'd be mean. That'd be a little too mean.
He had a great game, though.
Yeah, Chris Jones, 8 quarterback pressures, resulting in 3 sacks, with 2 of those sacks coming on his own, and then the rest of the passes were incomplete. So he had a huge impact on Joe Burrow and the Bengals offense.
And you did Hassan Reddick last week.
I did. So he would have been the second place guy.
Yeah, I mean, that was pretty obvious. With 2 games, it's not hard to pick. I mean, the Super Bowl is going to be so easy for us. We're going to be.
That's what he's going to go with.
I'm going to be only half paying attention to my Eagles. I'm going to be half paying attention to who Stu's going to pick for the Defensive Player of the Week.
That's the day he goes with like Jaren Jackson or something like that. He goes to the NBA.
There's always a big college basketball game that day. You're starting to get into college basketball a little bit. So maybe, but that's a good one, Stu. Thank you.
Okay, so as you know, you heard from Rich Ackerman, you heard us talk about it. Sean Payton is now the new head coach of the Denver Broncos. So that's interesting. A first-round pick and a second-round pick go to the Saints, the lesser of their first-round picks. You know, the top one's going to go to Seattle, of course, for the trade for Russell Wilson. So Russell Wilson gets his new head coach, Sean Payton. Can he do the same thing and have the same success with Drew Brees that he had with, will he have it with Russell Wilson? Now, we also learned in like 2 minutes after the Sean Payton news came down, DeMeco Ryans was also hired as the new head coach of the Houston Texans. 6-year deal for DeMeco Ryans. Now, this comes from Ian Rappaport. His tweet. This is not me editorializing. This is his words. Unbelievable. The Broncos spent today trying to hire DeMeco Ryans again today before he recommitted to the Texans, sources say. When he agreed to terms with the Texans, they moved on, being the Broncos, and finalized Sean
There was a little editorializing in the way you read that.
It's all caps.
Unbelievable.
I'm just reading the all capitalization.
That was all caps?
Yes.
Oh, well, you could have told us it was all caps instead of actually acting out the all caps. How many words were all caps?
Again.
Okay, so I wondered. I was like, wow, Maggie sounds like she's editorializing this tweet.
Unbelievable, : like, what do you want?
Okay, so that's interesting. So you were doing rap sheets, all caps, in your voice. I love it.
I mean, how do you do all caps? How do you do all caps?
Well, the way you said again had a particular sort of...
All caps.
Again. Yeah.
I mean, it's his emphasis.
So what's going on here? How can this all be true? So if Sean Payton was the number one guy on the market, the way we all assumed, why is he the second or third choice?
Maybe the interviews didn't go well. Maybe they don't want to pay $20 million for a coach. Maybe. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he didn't blow people away.
This is an interesting choice, D'Amico Ryans, if this is true, why he wanted Houston over Denver. I mean, I can think of a lot of reasons, but I'm curious. I'd like to know, in an honest moment, what was it that tipped the scales?
You know, we'd have to ask him. Maybe the connection to the organization would probably play into it.
I think he sued the organization, though. I think it ended. Right? Yeah, I think there was some amends to be made there. I think there was a contract problem.
Well, clearly they made amends.
I hope I didn't make that up.
They just signed him to a 6-year deal. I guess I would say a couple other things. The expectations early on are going to be really different, right? Do you want a team that is young in the Texans that you can mold? You're going to have, most likely, you're going to draft a quarterback. They have the second overall pick in the draft this year. They might even get up to first. Who knows? The Bears are picking first, so you don't think they're going quarterback. So you're going to probably have your pick unless someone jumps you. You get a chance to mold this team and kind of set the culture and set the tone. In Denver, it's not going to be that way. Russell Wilson's personality, his presence, just his everything is something that is going to have to be managed, and it's going to be a factor in how this team is, because no matter what, like, the microphones and the cameras are going to find Russell Wilson. Yeah. Whereas the Houston Texans, D'Amico Ryans is now the face of that team.
Yeah, I guess so. But if you lose, that's bad.
I mean,
it's really bad.
If you lose, it's bad anywhere.
Yeah.
It's right. A little more anonymous, I would say, in Houston, just because they're not Super Bowl contenders right now.
Right, but there's still a lot of pressure to win. And you could say, okay, this is one fallacy that often happens. They're a young team. We're going to give this guy 3 or 4 years. The Bengals, it was Zach Taylor. It's really hard to do that in the NFL. A lot of times we hear that and then it doesn't happen. That being said, I like a lot of I've been kind of on some of these younger players.
Yeah.
I like Nick Caserio has done a nice job. He got the running back, Damian Pierce, was awesome this year. Jalen Petrie, the safety, got burned about 1,000 times. But they have some nice young players.
That's a guy you like? Okay.
They have some nice young. No, I do like him, actually. And they have some really nice young players. But it's hard to win in Houston. That's the only thing that worries me for Ryans is kind of a losing culture in the building. I mean, I don't know. They were okay with Deshaun Watson, but even then, they never quite hit their
stride. I mean, they were a playoff team in a lot of those years. But I would say I agree with you. I think there was some underachieving there with Watson,
right?
Considering how good he was.
Top 5 quarterback. You should have gotten a little farther in the playoffs. That's what I meant to say.
Definitely. I mean, maybe that's on Bill O'Brien.
Yeah.
Their GM, left the team kind of abruptly with a family situation. Remember that? And then Bill O'Brien got sort of thrown into the fire there. There's a lot of reasons why Houston didn't work out. But
gosh, man, I am looking at the team that ended the season. Then they are very anonymous.
I know, but think how spry they were. They took the Kansas City Chiefs to overtime, took Dallas to the wire.
God, I thought I knew more players on the Texans, maybe.
Yeah, you don't. You don't.
Wow.
It's the opposite of what Denver has no picks. Houston has all the picks in the world.
They have a lot invested in their offensive line, like more than almost any team in the league. They traded a bunch of first-rounders for Laramie Tunsil. Titus Howard they took in the first round. Kenyon Green, they took at 15 a guard. I mean, so they have first-rounders all over their offensive line, but their defense is as no-name as you get. I guess that's why you really wanted Ryans.
I mean, he should be able to elevate the unit, to more than they are, above their talent level. Plus, I mean, it's just like it's all the picks. You get a total almost blank slate here. What are you going to do at quarterback? You're probably going to get a rookie. Listen, you win 5 games next year with the Texans, people are going to be like, all right, you're headed in the right direction. No one's expecting this to be a double-digit win team.
Yeah, I mean, they hadn't had picks in a while. Did they lose a bunch of picks for Tunsil?
Yeah, but they got them all back for the Watson trade.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so they have a lot of picks moving forward. Yeah, I just hope that they're patient here. I hope he's patient because this team might take a little while. But you know what else? AFC South that's where you want to be.
Well, I don't know. The Jags are better now. Let's get to Daryl. He's in Oregon, been on hold for quite a bit, wants to make a point about Mike McCarthy. We asked if the Dallas offense is going to be better now with McCarthy calling plays. Daryl, what do you have?
Well, first of all, congratulations to Kellen Moore. I think he's going to flourish with Justin Herbert. But this offense under Mike McCarthy is going to go stale unless this 3-quarterback trade occurs. And it's Derek Carr to the Green Bay Packers, Dak Prescott to the Las Vegas Raiders, and Aaron Rodgers reunites with Mike McCarthy at the Dallas Cowboys. What do you think?
Why do you have to do? Why 3 teams? And Derek Carr and Lambeau sounds like a disaster.
Yeah,
but why not just straight Aaron Rodgers for Dak Prescott?
Well, because I think that the Raiders need somebody right now that's a little bit more mobile, and I think that with the pieces they have in place, I think Prescott is a good fit up there. And with
Dak Prescott does
Derek
win in
Carr,
Lambeau.
With Derek Carr going to Lambeau, he's got a lot less of a salary cap hit than the other two, and it gives the Packers an opportunity to bring some more players in to surround him.
Interesting.
Daryl, thanks for the call. Sorry, and I forgot. Derek Carr's going to Lambeau in that scenario.
Yeah, and he can't play in the cold. But Dak can't run as much as he used to either. Sorry, Stu, your future Raiders quarterback.
I like the trade.
Yeah, of course you do.
That was an old school sports talk radio call. 3-team quarterback trade. Oh, we love it. More coaching news next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
I had a dorm room with my own private bathroom in the dorm room.
Look at you.
Isn't that crazy? Yeah, but you had to be an RA in this particular set of dorms. I felt like I was King George or something.
Yeah, what are you, the quarterback of the football team? Jeez.
I don't even know. I felt like royalty.
Louis the 14th over here.
Yeah, I felt like royalty.
I mean, if that doesn't get you chicks, I don't know what will.
No, you'd be surprised.
Come on back to my room. I got a bathroom in suite.
Yeah, you know, it's funny at a party. That line doesn't work. Hey, baby, is your stomach upset? I got a private bathroom. That is terrible.
Come on, blow up my bathroom. All good.
No. To be honest, I would not let anyone use this bathroom. So even if it was a potential hookup, I'd be like, nah, still
Sorry,
not
you got
sharing.
it down the hall, Chica.
I'm King George. I got my own bathroom. I'm not sharing.
They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
Oh, things are getting really juicy. Major coaching news today. If you're just tuning in, Sean Payton has been hired by the Denver Broncos. You got a first rounder and a second rounder going back to the Saints. And they get Sean Payton, Denver does, and a third rounder from the Saints. Now, there was a report that came out right after it looked like the deal was finalized that the Broncos had actually been working today to try to get DeMeco Ryans, who was hired by the Houston Texans today. They were still trying to work on getting something for Ryans before he said, no, thank you, I'm going to Houston. And then they pivoted, Denver did, and got something done with Sean Payton.
Yes. The tweet that you read last hour that started off this firestorm was from Ian Rappaport. Unbelievable. The Broncos spent today trying to hire DeMeco Ryans again today before he recommitted to the Texans. Sources say when he agreed to terms with the Texans, they moved and finalized Sean Payton.
Yeah.
Guess who the source off's with?
Who?
The big gun. Shefty.
Oh, Schefter. I thought Glazer was coming in.
No, Glazer doesn't have sources off because Glazer's source is he basically works for the team.
Yeah.
Nobody sources off with him.
Yeah, that's
Schefter
true.
says timing of today's two hires was completely coincidental. Broncos were zeroed in on Sean Payton and didn't make any contact this week with DeMeco Ryans or his agent. Denver was focused on Payton and Houston on Ryans.
Oh, it's a source off. Who's right? This is we haven't had a source off, I think, since Schefter reported that Brady was going to retire, and then we all had to wait, and he actually did.
No, Jeff Darlington.
Right, it was Darlington versus Schefter, right?
I can't remember. What? Darlington and Schefter are on the same team, aren't they?
No, I thought there was a source off around Tom Brady's retirement.
Oh, right. Okay.
That he was and he wasn't. Schefter said he was retiring, but Brady didn't say it for another 3 days.
No. Darlington came out and said it, and then Brady said it wasn't true. Remember?
And then it
was true.
Yeah, that's
because
a unique source.
He was finalizing the perfect Instagram post. So Schefter's saying that this isn't true, that the Broncos did not want DeMeco Ryans this week. They were zeroed in on Sean Payton. And I'm sorry.
Ooh, who's telling the truth?
The common sense is, I'm sorry, you have Russell Wilson, a quarterback who threw 16 touchdowns last year. You better be bringing in Sean Payton. You can't bring in DeMeco Ryans for this team.
Well, it depends who's DeMeco Ryans bringing with him as an offensive coordinator.
Who?
I don't know, but
Who's better than Sean Payton?
I don't think that there would be a better option out there, but maybe Ryans was like, I'm going to bring you the next Sean McVay.
Unless they're bringing, Cliff Kingsbury from Thailand?
I don't know. Is someone find Cliff Kingsbury? Is he cliff diving in Koh Samui? Something.
The next Sean McVay would be 28 years old. You can't bring it. That means the guy 6 years younger than Russell Wilson is going to show him how to play football. I just think hiring an offensive coach made all the sense in the world because your defense was already pretty good. You have a good really defensive coordinator. So the whole thing, I understand. D'Amico Ryans looks like he's going to be an outstanding coach too. And the coach is more the CEO. He's not really running either side sometimes. But it just makes so much sense that Sean Payton would be the pick for Denver. Coming into this, before all this, didn't we both think, gosh, Sean Payton would be an incredible hire for Denver?
Absolutely. And it's just, listen, depending on who you want to believe or whose sources are better or who's trying to protect who. But let's just say, for example, that Ian Rappaport's sources are the real sources and that they were trying to finalize something with D'Amico Ryans this morning. All right, now you got kind of two things. You've had to debunk one rumor that there was maybe some friction between Sean Payton and somebody in the ownership group or someone in the executive group that maybe was making him have cold feet about the job. And now the second thing is that if you believe Rappaport sources that up to the maybe minute you were still trying to work out something with D'Amico Ryans, that's two things that are like, little bizarre. But you know what? Sometimes these hiring cycles, weird things happen when people are negotiating. Maybe it's a whole bunch of nothing, but maybe it's not.
Yeah, I think Nick Sirianni was the third choice of the Eagles, and he was a little-known assistant out in Indianapolis, and they are the number one seed and in the Super Bowl. I just think these things work out in odd ways. We can't predict. We're not in the building with all these coaches. Most of us don't even really know what makes a great NFL coach. We know Bill Belichick outsmarted everybody, but it's not that obvious.
Not last year he didn't.
Well, right. But traditionally.
Yeah, no, he's the best.
I think. But I don't know. I think this is going to work out just fine. If I'm a Denver fan, I'm so excited.
Well, oh my gosh. I mean, the floor couldn't have been lower if you were a Denver fan. Like, Hackett was a joke as a head coach. Yeah. It didn't work out. And it was embarrassing. And it's a shame because I think everyone was really excited about the Russell Wilson trade. And then the first year is a flop. So, all right, you can look at two ways. One is, or I guess maybe there's nowhere to go up, I guess would be the one way to look at it. This has got to be better. It's got to look better under Sean Payton.
I mean, the Hackett thing was always supposed to be Aaron Rodgers. And that would have been I'm very curious how that would have worked.
No, but now the Jets are talking themselves into that with hiring Nathaniel Hackett as their offensive coordinator. Yeah. And, we were talking about Rodgers on McAfee today because he was mentioning and responded to our interview with Romeo Doubs. It didn't look like Rodgers was really jonesing to go anywhere. I don't know. I believe him when he says he has not made a decision. I bought that.
Yeah, he seemed like a cool customer. It didn't seem like he even cared where he ended up. I think he's over the Aaron Rodgers story just as much as the rest of us are over the Aaron Rodgers story.
And he's part of it.
And this is what happened with Favre. People just got exhausted of weighing all the options. Just said, go wherever you want. We don't care anymore.
I don't know if it's to that point yet with Green Bay, but it's
definitely getting there.
It's teetering.
Yeah.
All right, big coaching news today. Obviously, Sean Payton goes to Denver, and D'Amico Ryans goes to Houston. Jim is in Chicago. Jim, what's up, dude?
I really don't understand the whole thing with Sean Payton, the whole national enthrallment with the guy. I mean, he's no better off than Mike McCarthy.
I know, we're enthralled with him too.
The second thing that just raises all the headlines is people battling about where Tom Brady's actually going to play. The guy can't play anymore.
Are you sure?
I mean, it's obvious he doesn't want to get hit. He can't move. I just don't understand it. I mean, I know sports talk has to talk about something. The greatest thing about Sean Payton is he's going to get himself a $20 million a year payday.
Yeah, but 2 years ago, Tom Brady led the league in passing. You're saying it changed that much in 1 year?
Hello? Jim?
Hello?
Yeah?
Hello?
All right, we got to let you go. Couldn't hear him.
I mean, he had 4,700 yards, 25 touchdowns, and 9 picks. Tom Brady can still play football.
Yeah, I understand what he said. He definitely looked like he didn't want to take a hit, and he definitely can't move. There's no doubt about it.
He's
46. He can't do as much moving around the pocket anymore. Last year was bad, but Godwin was hurt still.
The
Mike
offensive
Evans,
line took hits. I mean, now we're making excuses for Brady, but
I think that's part of it.
But he's a different quarterback now than he was. I mean, not wildly different, but yeah, the skills have diminished. His ability to move around, and yeah, he doesn't want to take hits. I totally get it. I wouldn't want to take hits either. But if you're asking, to be the point guard of the San Francisco 49ers, basically, and get the ball to all these playmakers. I mean, if Brock Purdy can get the ball to them.
Yeah, but Purdy moved around all the time.
Yeah, he was doing a lot of those, the RPO stuffs, the bootlegs and things like that.
And scrambling out of pressure.
I know,
spinning 7 different ways till Sunday.
Okay, so Purdy has maybe the athleticism more than Brady, of course, because he's so much younger. But Brady has 20 years of experience from the neck up. You don't think he's going to be able to find these playmakers? This would be one of the greatest offenses he would ever play in his career.
But to Perloff's point, it's so unique. Do you see Brady running an RPO or have Deebo Samuel behind him with a fake toss into a
he can't run an
back
RPO.
around naked bootleg into a throw to Ayuk back to Christian McCaffrey? No, of course not.
You're not going to put Deebo at running back if you have Brady. I would think that's all.
What I'm saying.
You have to go to a traditional offense, and you're kind of wasting all these weird elements you have.
Right, but that's part of what makes the 49ers offense so unique and good is that they are so weird and so out there and unique and all these different things that you put Brady in there, they might still be great because it's Tom Brady, but you're taking away what they're great at.
Okay, but they don't. They might not need the trickery and all of that stuff to move the ball. Like, you have great playmakers who are awesome at yards after the catch. That's not going to change. And then we know what Brady loves. He loves being able to dump off to a running back in the flat. He's loved that. He loves his guys who are in the slot, and he loves his tight ends. They have all of that.
Yeah, I know. It just, they won 12 in a row with Brock Purdy. The other thing, too, is you really want to conserve.
Well, they won 7 in a row with Purdy.
Oh, 12 in a row.
Yeah, right, overall.
You really want a conservative offense with this defense. So you do not want a up and down the field offense. You want to chip away. I don't know, Tom Brady, I feel when Tom Brady's at his best, he's throwing the ball a ton.
I mean, but are we kind of...
Being his modern best. If you want to go back to 2004, okay.
No, but I'm just saying, are we selling Brady short?
Well, he adjusted. Would he be happy throwing 25 touchdowns and being 12-5 again or 13-4?
I think so. I think he wants to be in the Super Bowl. I mean, I don't think he's going for like career passing records and just trying to compile and get all these numbers.
He has them all.
He has them. And also, I think he's now just trying to put as much distance between himself and the second place, whoever that is, the second place person in terms of Super Bowls. And also, we know Tom Brady just doesn't want to leave the sport. He doesn't want to go home yet.
I think Shanahan has an idea of what he wants. And I think it was actually, this is going to sound weird, but I think it was Trey Lance. I think he wants everybody to be a unique weapon that can make an incredible play.
Yeah.
On any, maybe more like what Justin Fields was with the Bears, a quarterback who could break long run. I think he wants all this dynamic movement. Brady is so different. And one thing about Shanahan and Brady, it'd be 1 year, right? Or 2 years. You're kind of cutting short this run that they appear to be on. I don't know how long. I mean, they have 2 superior players in Fred Warner and Nick Bosa.
Yeah.
How long are they going to play? I mean, those are Super Bowl winning players.
Oh, but that's a case for Brady to come.
Well, I don't know. I think, but honestly, Nick Bosa is pretty young. I think you have a 10-year window with him, not just a 2-year window.
Okay, but if Tom Brady for 1 year to see if you can get over the hump, and then if not, then you have Trey Lance who just sat at the foot of Tom Brady and learned about quarterbacking. Granted, they don't play the same way.
Well, they're not going to keep him. I mean, at a certain point, if Tom Brady comes in, there's no future for Trey Lance.
I don't know. I mean, again, if it's a 1 year thing. Maybe you do keep him. You're not going to recoup the same draft capital that you traded away to get him. That's for sure.
How old do you think Nick Bosa is, by the way?
Nick Bosa came out after 3 years, right?
This surprised me.
He is 28.
He's 25. How is that possible?
Wow.
That doesn't feel right.
No. That's like when I told you guys that Romeo Doubs was born in 2000.
Guess how old Fred? This
weird.
one's even more surprising. Guess how old Fred Warner is?
Fred Warner is 27.
He's 26. He looks like an elder statesman. He's got that sort of mature look on his face.
No, you want to know what it is? Don't see a lot of young people named Fred.
That could be it. He's also
Fred is not a young man's name.
I'm looking at his face.
Freddie, maybe.
He does not look like a young player. He looks like an older player.
Do you have any friends named Fred?
No.
Nope.
We have a caller who calls in every now and again, Fred.
Yeah.
That's about it.
I guess he's a friend.
I mean, there's a Flintstone.
Yeah, and that cartoon came out in the 60s.
Cartoon? What do you mean?
Yeah.
He was real.
I mean, Fred, it's just like...
Hey, let me ask one more question. If they do
Makes him sound older.
Who do they have to sign? Are they going to basically not pay Brady much? They can't bring in Rodgers. It'd be $60 million. They'll knock all these guys out? Do they have to pay anyone? They know they paid Debo. I know McCaffrey's paid.
McCaffrey's paid. Debo. Warner's been paid. They paid him last year.
Has Bosa been paid? I don't think so. This Nick
Gotta
Bosa.
check.
Yeah.
Joey definitely got paid.
He's on his rookie deal. So, anyway.
Yeah, because apparently he's 19. We just figured that out.
So, I don't know. It does maybe they will sign Brady and maybe it'll be great. It just feels like they were so good this year. Do you really need to bring in a Tom Brady?
Okay, well then who's your quarterback if not Tom Brady? And Brock Purdy he's getting a second opinion today, but Brock Purdy has to basically get Tommy John surgery and is going to be out for 6 months.
I kind of want Brock Purdy to be my quarterback.
Okay, but he's out for 6 months. You don't even have to start in the season.
I understand that is a bit of a crimp in my plan there. Yeah. I was looking forward to a Trey Lance, Brock Purdy. Now listen, until Jimmy G's wearing another uniform, I'm penciling Jimmy G. 1 year, $10 million. Why not? He knows the system better than anyone.
Just keep him because there might be another team out there that gives him like 2 years, 25.
I thought you were going to go bigger than that, but yeah.
I don't know. I mean, you got a desperate team in the Jets. I mean, the Aaron Rodgers thing is really a Hail Mary, and you need a quarterback in Carolina. You need a quarterback in Vegas. You need a quarterback in I'm missing a place. Seattle, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe they just re-signed Geno. I don't know.
Yeah, I would expect Geno as a front runner.
Yeah, I mean, Geno had a good season.
But any of those are not really perfect Jimmy G situations either. If you're gonna pay $30 million for Tom Brady, maybe you'd pay 18 for Jimmy G.
But Brady was more like 20, and he might even come for like 15.
Do you think he will?
I don't know. 855.
But wait, why would he be 20?
He took 20 with the Bucs.
Did he really? What year was this?
Last year. Like this year, he was getting paid $20 million.
What did he originally sign for there?
I think he's been making between $20 and $25 million a year ever since he's been a Buck.
Wow.
I know. Way under market value. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. And quickly want to sneak in Lorenzo, who's in Houston, who wants to talk about D'Amico Ryans. Your new head coach of the Texans, Lorenzo. How do you feel?
I think I speak for about 98% of the city when I say I'm ecstatic. I'm happy. Can't wait to get this program started.
I understand why. I mean, what are you expecting in year one with D'Amico Ryans?
My realistic expectations for the city coming off of a 2-win, campaign. I'm not expecting much of a transition in the win department, but I will, expect about 5 wins. Mm-hmm. Still building, coming off of a Bryce Young number 2 pick. I think we're going to be sitting around 5 wins towards the end of the year, still trending upwards.
There you go. Lorenzo, I think that's wise, right? If you're going to have a rookie quarterback, you're going to have your ups and downs. You got a lot of young players on this roster. They went 3-13-1 last year. 5 wins, 6 wins next year. I think you're feeling good.
Yeah, I think it's interesting how he described it as a program. It feels like a college program, right? You have all these guys in here. I like it. I like D'Amico Ryans. He is really downgrading on talent from San Francisco.
A little bit. It's going to be a challenge.
And I don't want to hire a defensive guy under any situation, but I have to be honest, I'm a little infatuated with D'Amico Ryans. The Eagles' offense looked unbelievable all year, and I'm telling you, I know they won 31-7. They had no luck. What were their total yards? Like 220 or something? They were about 100 yards below their season average. He had them outthought at every single spot on the field on Sunday, and they somehow lost 31-7, but it wasn't Ryan's fault.
855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. We have the most ridiculous story that we heard today. You will not believe that this is true. Somehow it is, and people got in serious trouble for it. We're going to update that story for you in just a moment. You're listening and watching Maggie and Perloff right here on CBS Sports Radio and youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. 45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
We're back on Maggie and Perloff. Huge day in coaching hires. Now we have 3. Let's make sure I get it right this time. Frank Reich in Carolina, D'Amico Ryans in Houston, and Sean Payton in Denver.
You poo-pooed Frank Reich, by the way.
Well, I mean, the excitement level, come on. There's clearly going to be a higher level of excitement in Denver.
No, but you know what's going to happen. Because
Frank Reich will be great.
He's going to be great. He's going to have the Panthers in the playoffs. They're going to win a playoff game. Because this is how it goes. The under-the-radar coaching hire is the one that ends up doing the best.
I like Frank Reich. I think sometimes, because he wears glasses similar to mine, I could pull off a Frank Reich look. I've been thinking about doing Halloween for Frank Reich.
What would you do? Just wear what you're wearing?
Well, you put on he's always wearing the team hat, always.
Yeah.
And he usually has a scruffy, No, his glasses are identical to mine. He does not look, if you look at Frank Reich, you would not say, man, that guy was a former NFL player.
No, I mean, Frank Reich is responsible for one of the great memories I have as a fan.
Yeah, the comeback?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and of course he was Boomer Esiason's roommate at Maryland.
Yeah, absolutely.
It seems like that's the kind of coach. It's offense. We've kind of beat around the bush about this, but there's no mistake. 3 of the 4 final coaches were offense. 7 of the last 8 final coaches in the NFL were offense. You got to move the ball in today's NFL.
We love the D'Amico Ryans hire.
I like it, but I fear that they're not going to be offensively oriented enough because defensive coaches tend to coach conservatively, and that's not working in today's NFL.
You know what, though? For a young team like the Texans, maybe that's not the worst thing. You're going to have most likely a rookie quarterback. I don't know who Ryans is going to bring in as his OC. I mean, that's going to be really important.
That's a big thing.
Who is going to develop whoever you take in the draft? And then we'll see where they go. But, I don't think having necessarily a conservative-ish game plan when you have young players is a terrible idea. You can build on it, you know?
I just
you can always go up. It's harder to dial it back now.
I mean, what were the worst coaching moves we saw all year? It was Todd Bowles punting from the opponent's 45-yard line. That's a defensive coach. Defensive coaches do stupid stuff like that. And what's the best coaching moves we've seen all year? Nick Sirianni going forward at 4th and 1 in his own 30 on Sunday, and then going forward on 4th and 3. Going forward on 4th down is now a key to winning. No. It's just you cannot win in today's NFL if you're not going to be aggressive.
I get it, but
defensive coaches never want to do that.
Well, Andy Reid punted from the Cincinnati 38 in the AFC Championship game.
It was but the wind was blowing against it. There was no way he was going to hit that field goal.
No, I get it. It was a 4th and 8, but even sometimes, sometimes the game dictates when you have to be conservative. I'm with you on Todd Bowles. That was maddening because I believe they were down a score too. So when you're punting and you're down and you're basically now you're not only battling your opponent, but you're battling the clock because how many possessions do you think you're really getting back? That's really frustrating, but Nick Sirianni can go for it on 4th down because he's got a great team. If he fails, he's got an awesome defense to bail him out, and if he goes for it and gets it, he's got a great offense. He's in a privileged position there to be going for it.
I disagree. I think it's the modern look at 4th down. I mean, the whole NFL is doing it now, so it's not just Nick Sirianni. If you choose not to go for it on 4th down, you're hurting your team.
Well, listen, Doug Peterson did it with the Jacksonville Jaguars. He's very aggressive. We talked to Tony Khan about it. They like that about him. Now, if they wanted to hire Nathaniel Hackett, we're going to sweep that under the rug.
And ironically, Brandon Staley was a better coach when he was going for it on 4th down.
And he's a defensive guy.
But obviously, the Eagles have a little cheat code with the rugby play on 4th and 1, which makes it different. But you have to be analytics oriented. There's no more room for error because coaches are starting to modernize on that stuff. So if you have this defensive guy who's just going to try and win a field position game, you can't. The rules are so in favor of offense. You're not going to win a field possession game. You need offense. By the way, in your Bills, Sean McDermott, I don't know. I'm not sure they have the right, but actually he coaches like an offensive coach, kind of.
Yeah, I mean, he's pretty aggressive.
He's pretty aggressive.
Because he knows he's got a good team, you know?
And he'll get in a shootout. He lets Josh Allen gun it down the field.
Yeah, I mean, he's got no pass rush. They have to get in a shootout. Quarterbacks are going all up and down the field. Okay, so big coaching news. Sean Payton going to the Denver Broncos for a hefty price. Late first round pick, the Miami Dolphins pick. They traded Bradley Chubb, and then a second round pick. It's not nothing.
Ooh, that's okay. I actually am just wrapping my head around. That's not too bad though. What is that? The 23rd pick or something? 24th pick?
Yeah, we got to go to Tankathon and see where
so that's
Miami is.
That's not a killer. I thought you could have to give 2 firsts for Sean Payton.
No, not 2 firsts. I mean, even Bill Parcells, I don't think was traded for 2 firsts, and Belichick wasn't traded for 2 firsts.
Gruden
1 first.
Gruden was 2 firsts, right?
Gruden was 2 firsts, I guess.
So that pick,
at the time, Belichick was coming off a failed stint with the Browns and defensive coordinator, so it wasn't like he was Belichick at the time.
No, but I mean, he had won 2 championships with the Giants as their defensive coordinator, but still.
Oh, shoot. Yeah. Sorry, where? I'm looking at Tankathon. Whose pick is this? It's the
Dolphins via the Saints.
Dolphins via the Saints.
So it's
Niners, excuse me. So it's 29th.
Yeah. Via the Niners.
So it's 30th, I think. Is it 29th or 30th?
Well, there's only 31 teams picking this year, remember, because the Dolphins got docked their first pick.
Oh, I see. So I'm looking at Tankathon, and they listed the forfeited pick as a pick. So it's the 20. Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's not bad. It's basically, that's almost 2 second-rounders for Sean Payton. I thought it was going to be much more. I'll bet you Sean Payton was not as hot a commodities we thought.
Well, apparently not, if you believe Ian Rappaport reporting that the Broncos were even working today to still try to get D'Amico Ryans, and that didn't work out. But again, we did have a source off.
Yeah, I mean, Schefter said the opposite.
Who do you believe?
Well, I could tell you think Schefter was putting out some propaganda for the Broncos.
I never said anything. I'm just thinking, if you're Sean Payton, is that a little bit of a blow to your ego? But I guess that's what the money's for.
At the end of the day, we are not going to remember any of these shenanigans. This day is not going to be remembered.
Well, the only thing it could be remembered is if somehow Sean Payton fails spectacularly in Denver.
Okay.
And D'Amico Ryans presides over this grand rebuild in Houston. Okay. Then maybe we'll go back to this day and be like, if they could have flip-flopped, what would have happened?
Yeah, I see the first one as a possibility. The second one is going to have to be very patient for this grand rebuild in Houston.
You tell me all the time, these coaching hires, even for the good guys, are crap.
Yeah, no, that's not has nothing to do with Ryans. It's that Houston is very far away.
They are. He knows that. He got a 6-year deal. See if he sees the end of it.
Yes.
Do that show bet?
6-year? Okay, yeah.
On the team that's fired coaches on back-to-back years, does D'Amico Ryans see the end of his 6-year deal?
Ooh. No, he feels a lot different. He's a lot younger than those other guys.
That's true.
Who is it? Lovey and Cully? Yeah. Cully was 60.
Cully was a long-time assistant.
And Lovey wasn't exactly a hot commodity when they brought him in. Didn't he sort of failed at Illinois?
Well, and the team was kind of like in a crisis, you know?
Yeah, he was just in there to stabilize them.
Well, I mean, maybe he should have got a little bit more of a shot. But again, they went 3-13-1 this year. So that's the coaching news. You're welcome to weigh in, 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. I got to be honest. I thought we'd get a little bit more happy Denver fans, because I remember when Nathaniel Hackett went for it on a 64-yard field goal, we had a lot of angry Denver fans the day after that happened.
Definitely should have gone for it.
Where are the happy Denver fans now that Sean Payton is your coach? Again, 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Hell, we had a happy Houston fan. They won 3 games last year. He was happy. All right, we got to get to the story. Perloff, you sent this to me.
Yeah.
And it's an unbelievable story. Do you want to give the nuts and bolts?
It's unbelievable, but it's really not that unique in our sports world. The headline sums it all up. Coach is fired after 22-year-old assistant girls basketball coach impersonates 13-year-old JV player.
Yeah, we get that story every day.
Yeah. Well, we did have we have people who are older who try and get back into the high school game and relive their glory days, sometimes get recruited. The game was Saturday, January 21st in Suffolk. What state is this? Virginia.
Virginia, Portsmouth, Virginia.
Yeah, and apparently Boykins, the assistant coach, was wearing the number 1 jersey for Churchland, actively playing in the game. She played under a student's name, and they fired her. I don't get. They fired for that. She was clearly just helping her team.
Yeah, they fired her. They fired the head coach. They fired the varsity head coach, even though this happened on JV. So this was the name of the teacher, Arlisha Boykins. She's 22 years old. Churchland is the name of the school. She's impersonating a 13-year-old, and how they got found out was, first of all, so you're asking all these 13-year-olds to keep this secret. What did you think was going to happen? But that's not even how they got outed here. How they got outed is that she was wearing, as you said, Perloff, a jersey of a girl who is on the team but missed that game because she was at a different basketball tournament or something. The parents of that young 13-year-old girl called and was like, what the heck? Why are you impersonating our daughter? Freaked out, rightfully so. And now it's a national scandal.
Wait, I sent you the story, and I didn't get all that. Did you go in to do more research into how this all happened?
Of course I did.
I was like, wait,
I've read 13 articles on this thing.
Don't you have to clear with the parents first?
The lie that you're about to dupe everybody?
Hey, listen, we're going to pretend to be your daughter.
How about this? She's like pumping everyone up after she scores a basket. It's like, dude, you're 22 playing against 13-year-olds. You got to, like, fist bump and be, like, flexing after you score?
Listen, it's not as easy as you think. If I went up against a bunch of 13-year-olds, I'd get my butt kicked right now.
True.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's a long line of people defending this kind of behavior.
No, they're not. But it's just hilarious to me. How did you ever think you were going to get away with something like this?
I don't know. You don't think anyone's ever gotten away with this? They probably have.
Maybe people have, but we wouldn't know. But it's just so funny. This is on the heels of a story that just happened in New Jersey where a 29-year-old woman re-enrolled into a high school and was there for like 2 weeks before anyone found out that she was way too old to be in school.
No, she wasn't an athlete.
No, she was just like trying to be a student.
Yeah, there was a guy, I got to find, I think he was in Dallas, who was 29 years old, went back into high school and started getting recruited by colleges.
I remember that story.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Relive your glory days, maybe get
a second shot.
Get Division II school. Yeah, why not?
Start over.
I mean, you have to lie about your identity, I guess, but...
Yeah, besides that,
see, I think
you have to falsify documents.
I really wouldn't have fired this woman because she was just, this seems like a one-off. I don't think she was trying to build it.
This wasn't the first time.
Well... I mean, it was a JV game. She wasn't trying to get this varsity team and get a scholarship anywhere. So I don't think, I mean, she was just kind of doing it in the moment. She got caught up in the moment, clearly.
I love how you're defending her.
The fact that this was a JV game, like, at least
so
it was varsity, right? Like, varsity, you're putting up banners, you're winning state championships or sectionals. There's at least some reward or award at the end of the season. JV, you just play and then the season's over. There's nothing there for you. How on earth you need to cheat for JV is just, it's unbelievable.
I mean, nice message to send to the kids, too. It's like, just cheat and lie.
What about the kids?
What about the children, Perloff? You're not thinking about the children.
What lesson do they learn? Tell your parents everything first.
The big cheating scandal when I was in Little Leagues was when we played baseball. This happened more than once.
Danny Almonte?
No. A coach would bat the best player at like second, then put him up again at seventh.
Oh, it's so bad.
And rotate him in every 6 or 7 people, and everybody knew what was going on.
They actually did that?
Oh, yeah. I remember the game. It was Jeff Markowitz, he was like a Von Hayes clone. 5-tool player.
Jeff Markowitz.
He was a 5-tool player. He was fast, had power. And we had to pitch around him all game. It felt like he was just up because he was just up. But at least he wasn't an adult pretending to be a
yes, he was a literal 12-year-old.
Yeah. I think it was maybe 8 or 9 too. It wasn't even 12. Yeah.
Jeff Markowitz was a 5-tool player. I'm sure he was.
Are you kidding me? If scouts could have seen that game, he'd be in the MLB right now.
Oh man, what could have been? Jeez. I mean,
so you grew up playing tennis, by the way. I mean, there's a lot of cheating in that sport.
Well, you're making your own line calls. Kids used to cheat all the time.
And what role did parents play in that?
Scream at each other.
Oh, okay. So the kid would call something bad and the other parent would get into it?
Yeah, all the time. I mean, that would happen. Or like, if you really had a discrepancy, you'd have to redo the point. But, everyone knew.
Yeah.
Everyone knew.
Youth sports.
You got to, and it's a gentleman's or a gentlewoman's thing. You got to try to be nice to your opponent. You got to just call it the right way.
Youth sports are already complicated. We don't need adults faking their way into them.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
I mean,
what if you were in a tennis tournament and all of a sudden
here comes Steffi Graf?
Yeah, this woman. She looks like she's 32 years old. What is going on here?
She's serving 80 miles an hour. So one thing about this story, though, that I thought was a little bit overkill, they canceled the rest of the season. Now, I'm not sure how many games are left, but okay, the coach messed up. The coach is messed up. Don't penalize the kids. What if they like playing basketball?
No,
now they don't get to play the rest of the season.
Yeah, but the kids knew. They knew their coach is playing. They could have come out and be like, hey, coach, I'm not down with this.
A 13-year-old. The Houston Astros were a bunch of full-grown adults allowed a cheating scandal to go on for a year and didn't say anything. You're expecting 13-year-old Molly's going to be like, hey, coach, this is really not right.
Yeah, well, because they didn't have the integrity to do such a thing, then that's why their season's canceled. They earned it.
Everyone's punished.
I mean, listen, they canceled the Churchland JV girls basketball team. This is not the Houston Astros. I think the world will move on.
I'm not going to let it.
I'm devastated.
Those girls need to get back on the court and represent the junior varsity team.
Come on. Get back out there.
As a lifelong JV member, I should be more fired up on this. I've played more than a few JV games. It's important to us, darn it.
When you told people that you played college and basketball, how long before you dropped that it was the JV team?
Oh, immediately. No. Immediately. I played JV at college. And then I tell everyone it was closer to a club thing. It wasn't exactly, I wasn't in a feeder program to go to the NCAA tournament. Trust me.
Man, at least you weren't out there impersonating a 12-year-old. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. I mean, yikes. Okay, we see you guys on the phones. You want to talk about Sean Payton and D'Amico Ryans, the two big hires for today. We want to talk about it with you. 855-212-4227. Of course, we are across the country on CBS Sports Radio. We're also streaming right now, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio. Time for a CBS Sports update. Here is Rich Ackerman.
Sports Flash.
Well, Sean Payton looks like he's one step closer to taking over as the Broncos head coach with Denver and New Orleans, reportedly working out a compensation package that allow the former Super Bowl winning head coach to return to the sidelines. The Saints get Denver's first-round pick this year from Miami and a second-rounder next year. The Houston Texans and D'Amico Ryans have reportedly agreed to a deal to make the 49ers defensive coordinator their new head coach, while the Carolina Panthers, the first team this offseason to hire a new man, as Frank Reich introduced earlier today, the 61-year-old grateful for another opportunity.
Just want to begin by saying thank you. Thank you to Mr. Tepper and Nicole Tepper for just an incredible opportunity to come back home, to lead a team and a franchise in which we were here at the beginnings, but to take on new challenges and to take us to new heights.
The Cardinals have yet to fill their vacancy. They're meeting with Giants offensive coordinator Mike Kafka today. College basketball, case could be made. The Big 12 is the toughest conference in the country with 6 teams in the top 15. Tonight, 7th-ranked Kansas State takes on interstate rival Kansas, ranked 8th at Allen Fieldhouse. I'm Rich Ackerman.
The Eagles will play the Chiefs in the Super Bowl in 2 weeks. Brandon Graham from the Philadelphia Eagles stops by the Zach Gelb Show later, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 Pacific.
CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds.
Houston or Denver. Feels like we've got a couple calls. Houston fans are into it. D'Amico Ryans, former 49ers defensive coordinator, will take over that team. I just think we want to be rewarded instantly. That's not going to be the case here in Houston.
No, it's going to be a slow build. I mean, I guess the one question about Payton is, do you think it's too much to give up for a head coach?
Well, it's only a late first round pick. The 29th pick would be the 30th in a normal draft, and a second rounder. That doesn't feel too bad.
And then on top of it, you're going to pay him, but that has nothing to do with the salary cap. So, that's no impediment to sign a player or anything like that.
And you've already spent your money, so you have to win right now.
That's true. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. It's going to be tough in that division. We were also just talking about a story where a woman who was 22 years old, who was an assistant coach on a JV basketball team, impersonated one of the 13-year-old girls on the basketball team and played in a game. it led us to talking about more people who pretended to be younger than they are and go back to school. And Steve in Indianapolis is calling in with a story just like that. Steve, what do you have?
Good afternoon.
How you doing?
Also, good. For future reference, a week ago I moved with my wife and 2 dogs to Sparks, Nevada. So in the future it'll be Steve from Sparks.
Okay, good to know. Thanks for letting us in on that.
Anyway, I went to high school with my mother.
I'm sorry, what?
She had me when she was young, 18. Dropped out of school. This is way back in the 50s. And always felt bad about it. And wanted to go out in her early 30s and get a job for her first job in her life. So she thought, I'm going to need a high school diploma. So she went back to school. I was a sophomore. She was a senior. We had one class together. I think it was geometry.
What?
And you have all those yearbook things at the end of the year, most likely to succeed, most fun at a party, all this other stuff. Anyway, she was voted the most popular girl in the senior class.
Because she had an ID, she could probably buy everybody beer.
No, it wasn't like that. I mean, she was very gregarious, very intelligent. I think she got all A's and B's. But anyway,
Steve, what was that like for you? Were you like hanging out the same parties and stuff? Did you eat lunch together?
No, we were 2 years apart, and I had my own social clique, and she was there with a purpose and was really focused. And my recollection of it, my God, this is a long time ago, she just hammered the homework. She didn't want to jump into this and fail.
Yeah.
And so she was just extremely studious and didn't take a light course load. I mean, she took all the stuff you have to take as a senior, but she did really well, and she got her diploma, went on, got a job, had a nice career. But I just wanted to call in and say, no kidding, I went to high school, with my mother.
Now, did you go to the prom with her, Steve?
No.
I didn't go to the prom.
Mm-hmm. Did she?
I went to the prom. No, I don't think she did.
I think she was the homecoming queen. She sounded like she was the most popular woman on campus.
Well, yeah, that's one of those yearbook categories they give you. I don't even know who votes on that stuff. But she was very popular, and it was a unique experience. And of course, now as an older person, I tell that story to people, and they're just like, you like, what?
Well,
tell me about this.
It's a great story of perseverance. I mean, really, we're joking around a little bit about buying everybody beer, Steve, but it's great. I mean, the fact that she went back to school, got her diploma, went on to have a career and a job, it's like such an incredible story.
Yeah, it's a great story. I was 16, and so she's 18 years older than me, so she was probably around 34 or 35.
It's incredible. Steve, thanks for telling us, and good luck with the rest of the move to Nevada.
Yeah. Good luck with all that.
What if all of a sudden your friends are like, man, your mom's way cooler than you? Like, she was the, social butterfly of school.
Yeah, I mean, that's a territory that's well worn in movies and film where...
Like Billy Madison?
It's not your mom is cooler than you. It's your mom is attractive.
Oh, you know what? I didn't even think this could have been a Zach Wilson situation.
Yeah, Stacey's mom situation, exactly. Yeah. Well, I would think that would be a concern if your mom was a senior when you were a sophomore.
But you think that all the boys are going to be attracted to a woman who's 34?
Yep.
Okay. I think I walked right into that one.
It's kind of how it works.
Okay. Enough said. Let's let Bud in Knoxville, Tennessee follow that up. Hi, Bud. How are you?
I'm doing well. Hope you guys are.
Thank you.
Really excited about the Texans hiring D'Amico Ryans today because it'll be a good homecoming there whenever they get together with Bryce Young. Hopefully they'll have a good offensive coordinator, but I don't think it'll be as dynamic as Smitty and Jalen Hurts together. That's for you, Perloff.
Yeah, baby. Wait, so you're talking Bryce Young. I'm trying to get the connection to Hurts. And okay. Yeah, I mean, the Texans need some players, though. Where are you going to get all them?
Well, I think it'll be as it usually is a slow build. I know it wasn't for Sirianni, but I think it'll be a slow build for him, and it's going to depend on what kind of offensive coordinator they get.
Yeah. Listen, the Texans have, I'm reading here, 11 picks in the upcoming draft.
Yeah, so?
Well, I'm not saying you're not gonna take 11 guys. That's not how you're supposed to work the draft. But that's a lot of flexibility where you already have the second overall pick and more. Like, you're gonna build through the draft, bud. Thank you. And Perloff, you didn't appreciate the Jalen Hurts and Smitty reference?
Wait, I missed the connection because he's saying Bryce Young is going to be their quarterback and he's Jalen Hurts. And
a connection like Jalen Hurts has. Who's Smitty?
Devontae Smith.
Devontae Smith. I thought it was like a coach named Smitty.
Oh,
that's why I was like, who's the coach who's Smitty?
See, I didn't know if he was directly referring to the Bryce Young, Jalen Hurts connection.
Oh, maybe
apparently you didn't either.
I didn't either. Maybe he wants a Bryce Young is now going to be paired up with, another great Alabama wide receiver.
Who?
Who's coming out this year?
Oh, wait, they have Mechie already?
They got Mechie. Yep.
But I don't know if Mechie's going to play. I hope he does.
That'd be good. Who else is coming out this year?
Oh, this year, like Quentin Johnson, Jalen Hyatt.
No, but they are from Alabama.
Oh, from Alabama. Well, Alabama needs a receiver. Alabama was Jalen Carter, right? I think they were very disappointing this year. Not Jalen Carter, Jalen Duran. What was the receiver's name? They definitely had hit a rare valley on receivers.
Jaron Hamilton? No.
The kid from Georgia. What was his name?
Oh, from Georgia. I thought we were talking about Alabama wide receivers.
The kid who transferred from Georgia to Alabama last year.
Oh, and had a bit of a disappointing year. Yes.
And then, wait, what's that?
No, I'm looking at the wrong one.
Jalen Hale?
There's Jermaine Burton.
Jermaine Burton, yes. Is he in the draft? Anyone help me out here? And Ja'Cory Brooks. And what did they have one? Then they had a really talented kid who left right before the season. They were a mess at wide receiver. That's why I think they're going to be better next year. I'm all about Alabama next year.
But we're getting to this right at the end of the show. Alabama still doesn't have an offensive coordinator. Did you see the guy from Washington just turn them down and is returning back to Washington?
Yeah, but that's okay. Anybody but Bill O'Brien.
Well, he's with the Patriots now, so you don't have to worry about it.
No, I mean, that's why I'm saying things are going to turn around.
Well, is this another candidate for someone who needs to fire up the private jet, fly to Bangkok, and find Cliff Kingsbury?
I mean, that was immediately everybody went. Cliff's a Belichick guy, and Saban and Belichick. Yeah, I'd be thrilled. I think that's an exciting opportunity. How do we even get here? Oh, Smitty and Jalen Hurts.
Smitty and Hurts. No, Smitty and...
wait, we got 3 positive Texans calls. This is a record.
It's a revelation. Congrats, Texans fans and Broncos fans. We'll see you tomorrow.